Oh my God, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Tornado Tag Podcast live in color, I guess you would say. Look at those colors in the background.
It's way better than when we did the black and white podcast for a while.
Yeah,
that was weird.
We have upgraded so much. You know, we went from black and white to color.
Black and white. When you talk about old time matches like the old Starcades when they had the Legends match, it was in black and white.
We could find a way to do that.
Yeah, the first Slamboree they would do like Bob McDaniel would wrestle in black and white.
Yeah, I was like, this is pretty cool, but they wouldn't mention it. It's just like, here's the Legends match, and it's black and white.
One of these days, we're gonna hit high definition and we're gonna take off. It's gonna get big for us.
Isn't this HD already?
Yeah, I was just making. But we want to start off right away with thanking our people who support us over at the Patreon. If you want to join us, head over to patreon.com. I believe it's just /IWEP Network. If for all these links, you can go and check out our brand new website, www.iwepnetwork.com. All of our shows are on there. You can click on Tornado Tag Podcast, head on over. I take you right to our merch page, right to our link tree, because we do have more than one merch page, but we link our main one, as well as all of our social media. You can check out episodes, video, the whole nine. It's all on there. It's really cool. If you are on there, please take a couple minutes and leave a review. It'll take you straight to Apple. Or you can leave a review straight on the website, and we will read those reviews live on the air and have some fun interaction. Live chat is open. If you are watching live, you can say what's up. And then if you are watching, make sure you hit that share. Let people know what you're watching. But let's get into the Patreon. Tommy Borzrath, Tree of Life
Borat.
Yeah.
Borat.
Yeah.
And his wife.
Yeah.
And his wife. Tree of Life Metaphysical Shop, High Written Other Words, J Horror, and Austin Blackwell. Thank you guys so much for your support. It helps us a lot. We get to use that money to do cool things and upgrade the equipment and pay for things like StreamYard that we're using and other things that we're using.
The site.
It helps, pay for the domain names, all that. So it really, really helps us out. There's no bonus content on Patreon, only because everybody on there pretty much just says we're here for support. If we get a lot more people and you want bonus content, we'll figure out a way, or we'll find some cool stuff to put on there. And then we want to thank our sponsor. We have a few sponsors now, which is super exciting. Abaddon Tattoo Studio, a unique professional experience nestled in the small town of Pine Grove, Pennsylvania, and Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, put one of the sponsor names up.
No, we're gonna leave that off for now because there's more than one, and I don't have things for everybody yet, so I'm just gonna leave it blank. Nestled in the small town of Pine Grove, Pennsylvania, they provide high quality tattoos and piercings in a relaxed, professional, and sterile environment. You can check out their links as well as on our website. If you go to our sponsors, all their stuff is there. Our new sponsor, the Tree of Life Shop. We are dedicated to providing quality, metaphysical, and holistic goodies to you. Not only we are an online presence, but we have a brick and mortar shop located in Ringtown, Pennsylvania. We have everything. We have something for everyone. So stop in, shop online, and see what you can find. Come grow with us. We will be there live on location next weekend, the
5th.
Yes.
Is that right? I forget
whatever next Saturday is. We will be there on location. We'll be doing a Truth Behind Illusion on location. Won't be live. 23rd. Yeah. Won't be live, but we'll be recording stuff. I guess they're having like a local folklore ghost story day, and then they're doing like a paint and sip. It's gonna be like a community day there. We will be there doing podcasting on live on location. We'll also be live this Saturday. Recording this Saturday in Jim Thorpe. If you would like to come up and hang out with the podcast for the day,
the Flagstaff in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania.
We'll be live. BCW.
We'll be doing Truth Behind Illusion recording later on that night at the old jail.
Oh, that's not the Flagstaff.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Is that the Flagstaff at all? Don't go to Flagstaff.
Yeah, don't go to Flagstaff. Come to Jim Thorpe.
Go to jail.
Go to jail with us.
It's a
come
cool
hang
place.
out. And then
was very cool. Yeah.
Our last sponsor. This network is sponsored by Poddex.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So this is it's kind of neat. It's one of those things that I fell in love with when they first started, and then since pandemic and everything, they've really blown up, and it's really exciting to see them get so popular. And I was actually one of the first people to buy a deck from them.
You were an early adopter.
I was. Pod decks are unique interview question and episode starting prompts in the palm of your hand. So whether you are a new podcaster or an existing podcaster looking to grow your audience and get more engagement, you're going to want to check out poddex.com. Use code IWEP Network for 10% off your first order. So you can head over there, and they also have a an app you can download and pay like if you don't want to, because they have a ton of decks.
Yeah.
And there's decks that they don't even have physical yet. I don't think that you can just use digital. There is a pro wrestling deck.
Oh,
so maybe one episode we can do a powered by Poddex app episode. We'll randomly draw a card and talk about it. It'd be fun.
Like, who's your favorite Intercontinental Champion or something like that?
I'll actually give you a quick.
We already had that question a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
My answer was Mr. Perfect.
What's your favorite belt design? There we go.
Intercontinental Championship.
So the first question would be, what would your stable / faction team name be?
The Intercontinental Champions.
It'd be the Turning Attack Podcast.
Oh,
we already have that. Who has the best / worst ring attire?
The reigning Intercontinental Champion.
Wow, the best and the worst. Oh, geez, that's a good one. Yeah. That's one you have to really think about.
Yeah, so we can.
There's been a lot of good gear and there's been a lot of bad gear.
I mean, not everybody has Andy Header gear.
And that's true. Always had good gear.
Yeah, you always do.
You gotta look like a somebody, and then people are like, "We don't watch you." If you have shitty gear, and then someone's gonna look at you like, maybe he's good. I don't know.
Body Slams Podcast and hanging out with us live, saying they love listening to us. Thank you so much. It means the world to us. You guys have a great show as well. If you want to check us out immediately, check them out immediately following off the show around 9:00. They go live, so go over to Body Slams Podcast on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. And they have all their fun stuff too. Really good friends of the podcast.
Unfortunately, after the podcast, I have to watch my favorite football team get drubbed.
Yeah, my team's been taking a little bit of a beating as well. But we're not here to talk about football. We're here to talk about professional wrestling.
Right.
I'm here to talk about football.
As I spill a beer all over you.
Pour one out for the captain.
Yeah. So we are talking about Captain Lou Albano, but we can get in some current events. Anything crazy happen?
Yeah, apparently the card for Full Gear League.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Speaking of football, there's a segue for you. Speaking of football, Tony Khan, as you may know, Tony Khan and his father Shad are the owners. Well, Shad's the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the NFL's worst team. And
well, you can't book football.
You can't. And they had a game over the weekend, and apparently they had a picture of Tony Khan on the sideline, and he had a piece of paper that appeared to have the full card for Full Gear.
So he's at the sideline, he's just booking matches.
Yeah,
like what was like?
This game sucks. I'm just gonna book my show. I don't like football.
I mean, if I did like all the statistics and stuff, I guess you can't do that after the game anyway.
Yeah.
So I guess he was just booking.
Yeah, this is why the owner should never be on the field. Stay in the owner's box.
Yep.
Yeah.
You stay in the owner's box where you belong,
and no one can.
And this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hate. It's because of Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys. Is the first guy to always go down the field.
If he was holding like that whatever, and the card was facing out, like you got to be somewhat conscious of that. Like, oh shit, like you know what I mean? Like it's not like he was holding like this, and someone took a picture like behind his shoulder.
It would be funny if because in football the coach usually cover their mouth with something when they're calling a play.
AW Full Gear.
Yeah, it's like he's covering his mouth and it's like Danielson over Suzuki.
Yeah, down to the line.
15 minutes.
Oh Jesus, that'd be awesome. It has all the winners and everything.
What if that's the way that people found out in modern times that wrestling is all work?
Tony Khan leaks it.
Yeah, Tony Khan leaked it at a football game. I was like, wait a second.
Well, you know, like
if you're the winners and times.
If you're not a wrestling person, you would just look at that and be like, oh, you wouldn't think twice of it. You'd be like, oh, I don't know. I guess that's just scrap paper. You know?
Yeah.
Moxley, was he just watching Varsity Blues?
Yeah. What the hell?
Michael in the chat says, what's your opinion on Mercedes Martinez winning the Impact Knockouts tournament?
I didn't know she won. Good for her.
Yeah, she did.
Excellent.
Great call out, Michael. Great question. Love that. I'm a huge fan of it. I've said many times in the show, she is hands down one of my favorite female talents in the world.
Did she sign with them? You know?
She did.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Impact is making some things happen. Impact's on my radar right now.
Yeah. We are subscribed to the network, so if we are able to watch it.
They kind of fell into that territory, like, oh, Impact. You know,
yeah,
it wasn't as bad as it was before.
Their booking's not horrible.
It's just
their show like
they don't have no buzz.
It's a little different, yeah. And maybe now they can start. Like, there's always been talk about possibly Bray Wyatt might be going there, or the former Braun Strowman. They just signed the Inspiration, formerly
giving
the
them a title shot immediately,
which is good and bad.
Yeah,
a lot of people say when they come in, if they win, what else is there to do? And then a lot of people will be like, well, they should build the website. That's, I don't know. It's back and forth.
See, I think they'll come in and win right away, which may be not a great thing.
Yeah,
I think they should. It's the women's tag titles. Like,
they have women's tag titles.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then that's okay.
Impact's women's division is very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And good for them because they were well before WWE in taking that division seriously with Gail, Kim, and Khan.
Yeah.
It waned a little bit. Like you had Lacey Von Erich
she was
and things like that. But
Winter, remember her?
Winter, Katie Lee.
Yeah, Katie Lee, Virtual.
Mhm. And right after they're kind of alluding that they were doing like an incest angle with her and Paul Burchill, and then they just scrapped it right away.
But yeah, going
Masha
back to
too. Masha.
I was just gonna say that Masha, someone that we're big fans of here at the podcast. We got to work with at on a personal level at Camp Leapfrog and CFU. I'm very big on Masha, so her getting signed is awesome for her, and super proud of it. We've been saying for a while, making posts like get on the Masha train. It's about to leave the station. You could be the people that were like, we followed her before she got signed. Yeah, now she's signed.
Having met them a few times now, it's always good to root now for Ace. And she doesn't really wrestle on Impact, but Gia Miller's there too.
Yep. And another person that we got to see a little bit, and if you're local to our area, see a lot at the Sanctuary, Jamie Senegal.
Jamie Senegal also.
She was in the tournament, right?
Was in the tournament, and they liked her there. So maybe it's another face you see a little bit there has some local ties.
I think the tournament was mainly all unsigned people, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, because part of it was Masha wasn't in the tournament.
Impact,
but Masha had a non-title match with Deonna Purrazzo, who's their Knockouts champion.
Okay.
And not only did she have that, sorry to cut you off, Brian, but this may seem minute for some, but I think
you mean
moot. If sorry,
minute, like it's very small.
No, minute bowl, very big. Yeah, very big.
But
7'6".
If you're in the business and you have someone who's like a Mickey James, drop your name in a tweet and say, hey, Deonna, this person's a badass. You're in for a fucking, we know you like doing homework on your opponent. Here's a little taste of Masha, and they puts a gif of Masha fucking somebody up.
Mickey even did that. Yeah.
Mickey
even if it was, she didn't know and they said, hey, can you post this? She said, sure. That's still cool.
It's a cool thing to come from that account.
Yeah.
And because Mickey James is a female legend.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? She's one of the best to ever do it. Even though WWE did not give her a proper send off.
I don't know why.
If you release someone who's that many times your champion and has done so many things.
In their mind, she was old, which is so stupid.
Yes. Regardless, if Ric Flair were to leave, I'm not saying she's Ric Flair caliber, but in a women's division,
but she's real good. And she was at a time when they didn't have many good women.
And she's been a trend, a blazing path for the women's division in any company she goes to. So someone like that to tweet at Masha is awesome. And so that happened before the event, and then after the show was over, it wasn't aired or filmed, but it
was filmed. They put it out on social media.
Just put it out now. But after the match, Gail Kim comes out and offers Masha a contract.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And Gail Kim, another name, who's been synonymous with
with Impact specifically,
with making women's division wrestling good. We've been saying for a while the independent scene, not the men and the women, is completely stacked, and there's just on the northeast coast alone, the women's division is so fucking heavy, and we're seeing it now. We're seeing a lot of these people get opportunities, and it's really exciting. But so Mercedes Martinez is somebody I'm very excited for. I said, when she came out as a Joker, I said Mercedes is someone you can build a company around. She can be your company, the person who carries your company. And she's gotten big, but she's also leaned up heavily, even more than she already was. Seeing her at PPW, she looks fantastic.
Oh, yeah, she's still in good shape.
And she's always been able to deliver the goods.
She's been wrestling for at least 10 years, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. The very first Shimmer, which was in like
2004.
Yeah. She was in the main event, and it's a match you should go out of your way to see.
Yeah.
Mercedes Martinez, Sarah Del Rey.
Oh, that
is an excellent match.
I wish Sarah would have wrestled on a big platform.
Chelsea Green versus Alley Catch shall be interesting as well. Good call out. We're excited to see that.
Is that on Impact?
No, I'm going to guess it's going to be in GCW.
Oh, I was going to say it's wow. Alley Cat's an Impact.
Deonna Purrazzo wasn't officially signed when she beat Jordan Grace for the Impact Women's title, and then she signed her contract after she won. But the title showing up at Impact was, showing up at Impact was a good call out, man. Good stuff in the chat to everyone tonight. Keep it going.
We're not very strong followers of Impact, so you're teaching us.
But while we're bringing up GCW, big announcement there, January 23rd, a Sunday. They're going to be running the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City.
Remember I said a while ago that'd be a place I'd like to see a wrestling show?
Yeah.
Check.
I have seen a wrestling show there. It's a very good venue.
It is. It's right on 34th Street.
We will be there.
Right. It's right down from the Garden. It's a couple blocks from the Garden.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll be with us, but we are going.
Yes. Sunday will probably be pretty hard for me.
I will be definitely trying to.
That's good for GCW, man. They're really taking off.
Killing it. the names showing up there.
Yeah.
Briscoes and all, like we said,
Thunder
like we said in the
Rosa.
last show, it's getting popular, man. It's getting cool. And it's kind of awesome. Every main event you watch here, your boy Chris Levan in those main events. It's awesome, man.
And he didn't get any bottles thrown at him this time. He didn't get cut
by
up.
the barbed wire or nothing.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, anything else Impact news?
Impact, I don't believe so.
Or any other big news I'm trying to think of?
Crown Jewel is a week from today. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't care about that show. So
apparently TLC may have been canceled. The TLC pay-per-view may have been canceled.
Because why call a pay-per-view that and then we need a ladder match because it's a TLC show. Like,
yeah, I don't like those.
Call it something different.
I don't like Hell in a Cell as a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
especially when you're gonna do a Hell in a Cell match at Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
Like,
big war tomorrow. We have the last half hour of SmackDown, because SmackDown is going to be 2.5 hours, and the last half hour is going to be commercial free, and it's going up against AEW Rampage.
Yeah, because Rampage starts at 10, and then SmackDown starts at what?
It's going to be from 8 to 10:30 instead of 8 to 10.
Oh, okay.
Because
so they add a half hour to go head to head with Rampage.
It's not going to be on Fox this week.
That's why. Yeah.
So I actually seen someone take the clip that I guess has been posted online of Tony Khan saying we don't care, like we want to go.
Tony Khan's poking the bear a little bit.
But he said his actual thing was he goes, regardless of what the ratings are, this is what he said in the thing too, but this wasn't in that post. Regardless of what the ratings are, we will have the better show.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So he even said, like, he's not saying that we're going to dominate them in the ratings, we're going to kick their ass.
Yeah.
He goes, I think when it comes to our show on their TV and their show on TV, we will be the better show. He goes, their go home show on Raw was awful.
Yeah,
it was fucking terrible.
It was pretty bad.
I forget what the main event of SmackDown. It's Sasha against either Becky or Charlotte. I forget which one.
No, it's a tag match, isn't it? Isn't it Sasha and who's the heel?
Probably something we've seen 100 times.
It's Sasha, Becky, Charlotte, and Bianca. 2 teams that are going to wrestle each other.
That was Raw's name.
Oh, wasn't it? Oh, that's right.
It all bleeds.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's the same. But
love the show, guys. Keep it going. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Mike. Crown Jewel, what a joke. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at Dynamite from last week. Dynamite, Raw, and SmackDown. What was the better show? Probably Dynamite. I'd say Dynamite. I only seen a little bit. Well, Raw was not good, and SmackDown was okay.
I would have really loved. I watched them. I watched everything. I would really. Besides, if you're drawing the line in the sand and you just purely hate AEW because you're a WWE guy, I really want to know what makes you stick around for 3 hours of Raw and think it's a better show.
Habit.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't. I can't.
I'll have it on in the background while I'm like doing show prep for Murder My Dude, or I'm doing something else. It's past. Raw is like past. Like Dynamite, I'm locked in. I'm watching.
Yeah.
Raw, I'm not really.
Yeah,
Raw, I have one eye on the TV,
hard.
one eye on my phone.
It's hard
I put it on, and then now I got Hulu Live, and then I just do other stuff. You know, like, well, what's happening now? And then if it's someone that I like, I watch. Like I watch the promo with Charlotte.
Not everything in Raw and SmackDown is dog shit.
Yeah,
no, I thought there are good things, but when things are bad,
it's real bad.
It hurts your entire show.
I thought Ricochet and who did Ricochet wrestle? Xavier Woods, I believe. I thought that was very good this week.
Yeah, but then did you see how the matches are real short? Like the Queen's tournament,
yeah,
the total
every
match
women's
time
match
is 7 minutes or something like that.
It's disgusting.
Ugh.
They do not care about their
no, just the main event.
We literally turned around and said WWE has the best. At one point in time, we turned around and said WWE has the best women's division on the planet.
NXT did for a while.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying WWE in general. Yeah. NXT and WWE has the best one.
I think they still do, talent wise. They still do have the best women's division.
Man, but
just if you're not Becky Lynch, if you're not one of the Horsewomen or Bianca, they're not really. They don't really care about.
But the tide has changed, man. Like these other shows. The AEW didn't really do much different in their women's division. They're just booking it properly. Yeah, and it's exciting to watch.
And Britt Baker is a star.
Yeah,
Thunder Rosa is a star. Jade Cargill is inexperienced, but she has that something about her, and she's gonna if she can really get the in-ring side of it down.
Okay,
yeah,
then she could be something. But that's why to keep her on dark and just keep learning, getting wins.
Well, if you paid attention to Tony Khan's paper, that's not happening.
Oh yeah.
True or false? The Rock versus Roman to settle ahead of the table will be at WrestleMania.
That's what everyone is saying, but I don't. It all depends on if The Rock has a movie or not.
If The Rock is willing to do it, and the movie companies are willing to let him, it will happen. But who knows?
Yeah. Rock got to be Black Adam. And I kind of want to see Black Adam more than Rock versus Roman.
It would be a great way to promote that movie when it's getting close.
It would be if they could, like if it works out, because movie companies are funny.
And they're always going to be scared because the last time The Rock had a match, he got hurt. Well, not the one with Eric Rowan, but because that was like a rock bottom and a pin. But when he wrestled Cena at WrestleMania 29, he got hurt and it held up filming. and then the Hollywood studios like, no more wrestling.
Yeah, because then
You're costing us money.
The unions that do the filming of the movie. It's not just The Rock,
Yeah.
So it's a lot involved.
All right, we'll get one more
cool
from the chat here because you guys are killing it. In my opinion, I can see Mandy Rose beating Raquel Gonzalez for the championship at NXT Halloween Havoc.
Yeah,
probably then Raquel goes to Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, Raquel. Raquel's probably
not
ready to
her
go.
own fault.
She's big, so she has size. She's not awful.
No, she got a lot
WWE
better in a short time.
Cannot book the monster of their divisions. I'm not saying she's a monster, but she's bigger than everybody else.
Yeah, they don't know what to do.
Yep.
Like when they had Karma cry, that was Awesome Kong.
Yeah,
that was awful.
But
that was not good.
Not only are you doing Raquel and Mandy Rose, but it's spin the wheel, make the deal.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Like NXT is kind of been like, I don't really care, but I'll watch the Halloween Havoc to watch.
Halloween Havoc's amazing. Yeah. All right. Where we at here? 22 minutes. Let's get a quick. Let's do something we would normally do towards the end, before we get into our topic, and then we'll do it again towards the end. Andy, anything coming up that you want to plug or talk about?
I don't really have any shows lined up for October except the Sanctuary Friday one, which is the 20.
How about that poster?
8th?
That little banner.
Yeah, I'm on the 5701. Yeah.
So. Yeah, the last Friday.
Yeah. Now they have a lot of shows coming, and a lot of times I get confused on what the
29th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so check out the Sanctuary on Facebook.
I believe that's my only show in October.
Yeah,
actually.
so you can. They're having the 570 fights, which is going to feature a lot of the people from the local area wrestling and.
Well, the whole gimmick is only people out of the 570 area code
and
of Northeast Pennsylvania.
Our entire team will be there. You'll be in the ring wrestling.
No matches are announced.
Well, you'll be in the ring stunt fighting.
Yes,
and we will be up on the balcony making the calls,
stunt commentating.
Yeah. I love that place. I have such a good time.
Yeah,
it's always a fun time.
I have such a blast. But come hang out at the Sanctuary. Then just announced Kit Raff put out with along with Chadron. They're doing a movie, like a movie style show.
But it is a live show that you can go to. And that's the 24th.
And some stuff will probably not air right away. And they're going to add
Flatmates versus the Impeccables.
Yep.
Keita Murray is coming back to Pennsylvania
with Kit Raff
on
our logo.
Redo their tag team.
So you can come and hang out and see a filming of a wrestling movie. Maybe there'll be another one popping up eventually.
Yeah, there probably will be in their match too, I would assume.
So come check out that. That's gonna be really fun at the Sanctuary.
And the Flatmates are always gonna do something to entertain you. Always.
Absolutely. That's actually the only place you can exclusively see Trajan at this point in time.
Yeah, right now
Sanctuary.
He's a Sanctuary exclusive for the moment.
Yep. And the also PPW. We were not at the last show.
Yeah, the next one's not until November.
But we will be back for the November show, and they already announced Carlito and Tito Santana.
Arriba.
Yeah, Arriba.
And Devon Dudley.
And Tito was
kids.
68.
Yeah.
I think he's still gonna wrestle.
I seen him wrestle in Shenandoah when I was a kid.
And did they announce are we getting the rubber match? Is that this show?
They announced the Iron Man match, yes.
30-minute Iron Man match. Casey Navarro and Davey Richards. Go out of your way to see that.
I believe that is the only match announced so far.
Yeah,
I think so.
The Iron Man match.
Yeah, and that's PPW now.
Ross said they are filming and of course wrestling a match as well.
Oh, awesome. There we go. So Ross is in the comments. So there you go.
Cool. Yeah. So check out the Sanctuary. PPW coming up. Nothing for Outbreak really right now.
No shows announced for Outbreak. True Wrestling is back on when is that? I forget.
20.
And they have what did they announce for that?
We were actually
it's somebody they announced. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Oh boy. I'll have to look it up.
We were invited to do production at a place in Jersey the same day that you went to go to Backbreakers.
Oh,
I told him I will hold off. We'll get back to them because I know you really want to see Michael Gary
Capetta.
Yeah. So
he's a very nice guy.
We met him at
Alex Shelley will be at True Wrestling.
Oh, that's awesome.
Scary Good Wrestling.
I love it. The current relatively new IWTV
champion.
World champion. Officially recognized by Pro Wrestling Illustrated as a world title.
It's super exciting.
That's right. And that is October 23rd. So Saturday, October 23rd.
Alex Shelley.
Alex Shelley in action. They didn't say who he's wrestling.
Scary Good Wrestling.
Yeah, I like the name of that show. So I don't believe they announced any matches at all. Just that Alex Shelley's there. So,
that's all you need to announce. Alex Shelley is amazing.
Yeah.
I will say this.
Maybe him versus Tony Depp.
He's a scary good wrestler, but as long as he has that title around his waist, Avery Good.
Oh,
professional wrestler is always going to be hiding in the shadows, which holy dog shit. That's a match I want to watch.
Yeah.
Avery Good versus Alex Shelley.
Yeah. Shelley and Wheeler Yuta was excellent at IWTV Untitled.
I'm trying to think, but you might be able to watch the Machine Guns versus would it be Creator Wrestler and somebody?
It's very possible.
Yeah,
Ultimo
I think
Breakfast,
it might have
maybe?
happened,
But it's one of those matches that
but not now.
we
I
had
mean,
Daniel Bryan versus Kenny Omega, and now we're gonna get them.
Yeah,
and-
it's totally different.
Yeah, it's a completely different match.
I would have to imagine that Avery Good, professional
At some
wrestler,
time, yeah. At
and
some
Alex
point.
Shelley cross paths
Yes.
at some point.
And
Yeah.
Chikara, Tag World Grand Prix.
Oh, it's
I
fucking
like to call Grand Prix.
super exciting. Yeah, the Grand Prix.
Yeah, so True Wrestling. I'm trying to think of any other shows that are.
The only one I know is Backbreakers, and also you can always check out
they're
WXW.
November 6th. Yeah,
Yeah.
and WXW runs once a month usually
Mhm.
out of Allentown, same building all the time. But they usually announce the card, but I don't think they announce matches.
Yeah.
I could
So
be
we'll,
wrong.
we'll keep you updated with that. But that's kind of what we have going on right now. Brian, what do you got to plug?
And the local independents.
As always, project219.com. That's where you can find my other podcasts, Murder My Dude and Cheesesteak Suplex. No Murder My Dude this week. That is a bi-weekly show. That'll be next Sunday. This Sunday is just Cheesesteak Suplex. We're talking about wrestling figures, fig feds, 80s toys, things like that. Fun time. And then next week for Murder My Dude, which will be a week from Sunday, it'll be coming out. I believe we're going to go back to what we did on the very first episode, the very first Murder My Dude. So long ago, about 3 years ago.
Wow.
We reviewed Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
We reviewed the new Halloween movie. And so this upcoming episode, we're going to be talking about Halloween Kills, the new one.
Oh, the new
Exciting.
Coming out this weekend.
That actually might be if it comes. It's supposed to be coming on Peacock.
Yeah,
right
it's
away,
going to be in theaters and it's going to be on Peacock as
Oh,
well.
wow.
That'll solidify because that's
How
what
about
we're
that?
actually
So
debating.
NBC owns Halloween, and then
I guess so.
It might be a Universal.
Okay.
Might be
we were
Universal
debating
Studios.
if it comes on Peacock. That's what we're going to talk about as well at Not Cool in High School. So it'd be kind of cool to see what we all thought of it.
And we're going to talk about some other shows like I haven't finished watching that Squid Game show, but any kind of
I heard
murder
that's big
shows.
now. Yeah.
Yes, like the biggest show ever on Netflix.
Oh, wow.
Had the biggest, most watched show for their first month ever on Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
That's crazy.
People don't like it because you have to read subtitles.
Is it all in a different language?
it's a Korean show.
Oh, okay.
It's
I'd be
basically
out.
it's basically these people in Korea who are down on their luck. They need money, so
Very
they.
battle royale.
It's if you ever seen the movie Battle Royale.
Is it real or is it?
No.
No.
scripted?
It's a scripted show.
Oh, okay.
And basically, they have them play these schoolyard games where if you lose, you die.
Oh, okay.
And they're playing for like an obscene amount of money.
Kill that vibration there.
And so
What's
we
that?
might cover that. We're probably going to cover Only Murders in the Building, which is a show on Hulu with Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Great show.
And so, yeah, just any kind of murder shows. Chucky, we'll probably talk about Chucky because Chucky just
I
started.
didn't see that yet. I heard it was good though.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I watched the
First episode's on. Burped the mic. Is on YouTube right now.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
Yeah, it's
maybe,
probably
yeah,
also
it's-
on Peacock because that's a USA sci-fi show.
You would think.
The only thing I have to say is just check out the IWEP network, www.iwepnetwork.com for all social media, merch, the whole nine. Like I said, leave us a review. And next week, we are going to be joined by another fellow podcaster, Tiffany, the
is that next
queen
week?
of the indies, will be joining us next week on Tornado Tag Podcast. We're going to talk how she got into podcasting, what makes her obsession with the local indie scene. She's more from the Jersey, New York area, so she travels up and down those areas. We'll find out some of her favorite talent that she enjoys
What is
seeing.
the name of her podcast?
She is on the No Holds Bar Network,
Mhm.
and I believe her show is just the Queen of the Indies, or
Okay.
I think it's named it. I have to double check. But yeah, she's gonna be on next week, so very excited for that.
Oh,
And then we have another podcaster. I don't want to announce anything. I don't want to jinx it. All I'm going to say is there's about 5 people when it comes to interviewing and podcasting that I listen to or that has gotten me inspired, like the
Mhm.
Rogans, the Howard Sterns, the Kevin Smith. This person's relatively new, and I would put in my top 5 of all time of people I
wow.
really respect and what they do. And
It is Rogan. I'll just spoil it.
yeah.
and they will be on the podcast.
But he's only going to.
I'm going to debate him about vaccines. It's going to be great.
He only
yeah.
wants to talk Fear Factor.
Yeah. So we have someone who's really exciting, who's a big deal to us.
I'm going to talk to Rogan
Um,
about the Man Show when him and Doug Stanhope did the Man Show.
Great show. But
Well, the people hated their version.
Mhm.
Doug Stanhope is my favorite living comedian.
we got the eggs.
and,
The eggs are back, baby. Mario's in the chat. Go check out Mario on the IWP Network. Welcome back podcast. Yeah.
And yeah, so Doug Stanhope said about the Man Show, just a quick aside, because like people would come to me like, you ruined the Man Show. It's like, it's the Man Show. I didn't ruin The Wire.
Yeah, there's
Like,
not.
he's like, I would ruin it again twice as bad for half the money.
Yeah, it's girls jumping on trampolines. It's like it's not really that.
Yeah.
It ain't Lord of the Rings.
All right. Well, we hit our banter news segment. Like I said, IWEP Network. You can check out great shows, Truth Behind Illusion, interviews with everyday people, Not Cool in High School podcast, Bangin' Beers podcast, which will be live this Sunday.
Oh,
Higher with Other Words, We Like Wrestling podcast, and Welcome Back. So definitely go check those out. We have a collaboration coming up really soon with Welcome Back and Truth Behind Illusion. Truth Behind Illusion is getting a lot of love since it's been back. So
the Tree of Life just shared something like 2 hours ago about the coming on the 23rd.
23rd?
Yeah.
And if you do come to the Tree of Life,
sticker,
or you come to Jim Thorpe, we have brand new stickers. We can give you guys some stickers.
They shared that logo and they said coming on the 12th. They have us there at noon. So
yeah,
we'll be there. Whenever they open.
We'll be there all day.
Yeah.
So super exciting. Let's get into our topic. Captain Lou Albano.
The captain, baby.
Yeah.
One of the all-time characters, I think, in wrestling.
Has anyone here met him?
I have not. And it's a little too late now.
I'm gonna say no.
I met him twice.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no that I haven't, but maybe.
I met him the same day I met Jimmy Snuka.
Okay, at that show in
Hazleton.
Oh.
Yep. And then I met him one other time, I believe, at the Frackville Mall, Schuylkill Mall.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
He was there one time doing a signing.
Well, you know the Samoans used to run Hazleton.
Yep.
Right up from where the sanctuary is would be like over 2 blocks down.
So,
on the main street.
You know Hazleton Heights, when you take that one exit and there's like that little indoor flea market area, like it's like a inside building, and it has like just like it looked like a giant hometown auction inside of a building. He was in there, and then on the outside of the building they had a little canopy tent, and they put a wrestling ring in there.
Wow.
And Jimmy Snuka wrestled the main event, but Captain Lou was also there signing autographs.
Wow, how about that?
So
he was probably at WXW. Well, maybe. Yeah. And they're right in the main street there. Small building, but it was. I was there 2 times, I think.
Once again, we always talk about our love for the role of manager, and boy was he fucking good at what he did.
Yeah,
one of the best.
Yeah,
one of the best. And he wasn't always a manager. That's what he's most known for.
Yeah,
but he wasn't always a manager. Let's go to the very start. He was actually born July 29th, 1933 in Rome, Italy.
33. Wow.
Yeah.
Rome, Italy.
You mean he's not Samoan?
Captain Lou?
No, you can't get no more Italian than Captain Lou.
Yeah. Well, I think people would see him in associate because he always.
Well, nobody thought he was Samoan. He managed a lot of.
When I was a kid, I did.
What?
I did. I didn't know. I just thought, like, oh, it's with the Samoan.
You know that Samoan name, Albano?
Yeah. I was also like
Louis
7
Louis
years old. Guys.
Louis Vincent Albano, the wild Samoan.
I thought he was Samoan when I was a kid at one point in time.
Oh, well, I didn't get it on our shyster for years.
IRS,
yeah, I didn't get it. And I was like, now
paying taxes suck.
My thing like that, and this has nothing to do with wrestling, was Tails from the Sonic the Hedgehog video games. Miles per hour.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Awful. He has 2 tails.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to it.
So
Heidi's home.
We have a guest.
Yeah. Cap Lou's coming.
So he was born in Italy, but his parents were Italian American. They were American citizens. They were over there because his father, Carmen Albano, was finishing medical school. He was a doctor. He was an obstetrician, and he claimed in his book, Albano claimed that he was baptized at the Vatican, which is super cool.
Maybe, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
it was 1933.
He was born in Rome, so I would imagine. Yeah, it's probably
not that out of the.
No, it's not
realm.
like crazy.
Yeah, it's not like old, wrestler story.
Yeah. And then the Captain Lou nickname came a little bit later because he was the captain of his high school football team.
Oh, wow.
He was a bigger guy.
He wasn't real tall.
No. In fact, that
built like a brick shit house, though.
Yeah. In fact, that his height plays into things a little bit later. He did get a football scholarship to the University of Tennessee, and he did drop out not that long after that. He joined the Army, and he had a football injury that led him to be honorably discharged about 8 months after he joined, and he wanted to get into boxing. And he had a friend, I believe it might have been a distant cousin, Lou Duva. Yeah. If you remember,
an Italian-American. What a name. An Italian-American immigrant who wants to get into boxing. Never heard that story before, right? I think that was like a rite of passage of Italians back. Can you box?
Yeah. No, because I was going to say, if he would have been a boxer, I wonder if he would have ever boxed my grandfather. But I think my grandfather was in a different weight class and he was out of boxing by the by the 40s.
Yeah.
He would have been in his 40s. But Albano met Lou Duva. Lou Duva was a very famous boxing trainer, Hall of Fame boxing trainer. If you remember WrestleMania 2, there's a boxing match between Mr. T and Roddy Piper, and Lou Duva is Piper's trainer.
Oh,
in WrestleMania 2. And Luduva and the people he brought him with, they're like Willie Gilzenberg, who was a boxing promoter in like New York, New Jersey. They're like, you're too short. You're not going to make it in heavyweight boxing. You're too short. You should do wrestling instead.
Yeah.
So he trains with Arnold Skull and he trains with another guy, Soldier Barry, and he becomes a wrestler in 1953. At the age of 20, he becomes a wrestler. His first regular gigs were in Montreal, which would have been like the Edouard Carpentier territory. And he was just like an opening match guy. He did get a break in this isn't even the WWF. It's just wrestling. It doesn't have they're still part of the NWA.
Mm-hmm.
They always were until Vince pulled them out, but they were still like they recognized the NWA champion and all that. And so he gets his big break with a TV match against the biggest star, the biggest baby face in the 1950s in New York and then the New York territory, Antonino Rocca.
Mm-hmm.
Before Bruno, that was the big baby face was Antonino Rocca. And obviously Rocca gets the win there.
Heidi's doing shady drug deals over here. She's the candy dealer. Yeah.
So even though Albano grew up in New York, Westchester County is like that's I think considered upstate New York. I'm not too up on my New York, but he gets his first big break in Chicago. And Chicago at this point, I think it's still big time wrestling, they would call it there. And he gets linked up with Tony Altomare. And this is a point where The Godfather hasn't come out yet. I don't know if the book even was out yet, but you had the Untouchables, you had Al Capone, you had Lucky Luciano, these famous mobsters. So Lucky, I can't speak today, Tony Altomare and Lou Albano become the Sicilians. And it's very, very, very implied that they're in the mob. I think he may even said they're in the mob.
I wonder, like, because, all right, so, like, I want to kind of think about this in today's times, right? So we live in a time right now where things are super highlighted. So, like, if something bad happens, the entire group or nationality or sexual orientation or religion or whatever it may be of people get highlighted and cast as villains.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. I mean, we always talk about it then, like today, like, well, if you want to know how big, how we're like, it'd be interesting to see from like not so much pop culture media, but like living during that time.
Oh, see
how Italians were perceived being alive at that time.
I don't think they were like looked down on so much, you know, like the Irish were back then.
Yeah,
and like,
in the 50s,
I
wonder if you're just Italian and you kind of talked with a little heavier accent. You're like, don't mess with him, bro. He's in the mob.
It would probably,
like people will use it.
You know, that's a good question. Yeah. In New York, I'd say they'd probably be liked. You know, I don't know though.
Yeah, in the Northeast, that's where a lot of this.
Philly,
well, Philly. I know the Italians and the Irish.
The perks of being white and a gangster, right?
What?
The perks of being white and a gangster.
Yes, yeah.
The Italians and the Irish didn't really get along.
But see, the Irish were always kind of like, the Irish. You know, like the jail.
A lot of the Irish became cops. Like the old stereotype in New York, Philly was like the Irish people were cops.
Yeah. And the Irish were a lot used in the Italian mob as like their enforcers and their workhorses. Like they used the Irish to get their hands dirty. And then when the Irish started converting over, and not every Irish person became a cop, but then they started peddling their drugs and their crime into black neighborhoods.
And this comes into play in wrestling. WWF, Vince McMahon Sr., well, Vincent J. McMahon, the Vince McMahon we know, his father. That whole territory was built around ethnic baby faces and ethnic heels, and your ethnicity was a big part of who you were in that company. And Bruno Sammartino, he was there because he was a big draw with the Italian crowd. Pedro Morales was a big draw with the Puerto Rican crowd. And you had Ivan Putski for the people from Poland. You had, trying to think of other.
I'm trying to think. There's always Italian guys. Well, Bob Backlund was just like all American.
And then you had who was the?
Is it too early?
Dominic DeNucci.
Is it too early for Atlas at the time?
Tony Atlas was a bit later. Tony Atlas was like the 70s.
Yeah.
But I mean, you would have Bobo Brazil, I think, would come in every now and then
for the black crowd,
like the black audience. But then your heels, like a lot of your heels,
it's always like Russians, Germans,
Japanese
was a big one.
Yeah,
back then.
Baron Cicluna.
Yeah,
people were at war with.
Yeah. They always
and Irish people.
Goddamn Irish.
Big John Studd. His first name in WWF was Chuck O'Connor.
Yeah, put the old Connor in there.
And you know who? This is a guy who is actually Italian, and his his kayfabe name is Irish. Hogan is an Irish name.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan was named Hogan because he was a heel when he came in, and that's an Irish name.
Yeah.
That's something.
Because before that, he was Terry the Hulk Boulder.
Yeah.
And so they made him Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Boulder.
Still won't accept him in our
Stupid
Irish
name.
community. Get out of here, Hogan. I'm torn. I'm the guy who can't be made in the Italian movies because I'm half Italian, half Irish.
Yeah, Henry Hill.
Yeah, I'm Henry Hill. I can never.
Henry Hill is a name that doesn't sound Italian or Irish.
I can never be made, guys.
I am not Italian at all. So
I am neither, so I no doubt.
I'm a little bit of everything in Europe, but Italian, pretty much. A lot of Ireland and Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
So anyway, Captain Lou Albano, that's what we're talking about. The Sicilians are very, very heavily implied that they are connected.
Yes. Okay, for wrestling, that's good.
And they were a big act. They were very successful. They won the Midwest Tag Team titles in 1961.
I wonder if there's footage of it. Like, can you watch old Albano?
I doubt it in the 60s.
A lot
Like,
of that
they
stuff
didn't record that
Yeah,
stuff.
they didn't tape it all.
Sucks.
Like even into the 70s, like and even the 80s, a lot of those territory tapes that you'll find are because people who had early access to VCRs taped them when it was on TV.
Yeah, what they would do a lot of times, they would like broadcast the show and they record it. When they needed a tape for the next show, they would just tape over it.
Yeah, because blank tapes used to be really expensive.
Yeah, so like a lot. That's why a lot of stuff doesn't exist. Like Cornette has a lot of footage from different old
Because
like Bobby
territories.
Bobby Heaton's old matches, like when he wrestled before he was a manager. A lot of that probably is.
Yeah, it's probably gone. And
Yeah.
he was in Chicago,
Especially the San Francisco stuff.
Yeah, and like one of the first people they say to have in the country to have a VCR was Playboy Buddy Rose, who was a wrestler from Portland. And yeah, he would tape wrestling, and he was one of the early tape traders. Cornette was one of the early tape traders. Because before you had the internet, before you had all this stuff, you would just mail tapes to each other. And that was one of the early things with the Wrestling Observer was they had a directory where you could say, "Oh, I'm looking for these tapes, and I'm willing to trade this."
Yeah,
That's so cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It is very cool. But according to the legend, at this time, one of the top mob guys in Chicago is a guy named Tony Accaro. And he had some of his people pay a visit to Lou Albano and Tony Altomare and be like, "Hey, tone it down.
Yeah.
Stop saying you're with us." Like, and then they really
Hit the brakes.
they just really toned down the whole mafia thing. But they did hit the bricks. They had some strife with the promoters, and they left the territory. And Albano returned to New York. That's when he started what would wind up being, so he came in around like 65, I think 63, 64, 65. So this is the start of about a 20-year run for Albano in the McMahon territory, the New York territory.
So sick.
And he starts just as a singles wrestler. And then around 1967, I want to say, Tony Altomare comes over there too, and they become the Sicilians again. And I don't know how much they pushed the mob thing, but they were the Sicilians. They were the tag team champions, but only for about 3 weeks. It was getting the title off of Arnold Scullin, basically, because they beat.
Were they South Philly's finest before South Philly's finest?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Speaking of tag team champions, the new PPW tag team champions.
Congratulations, guys.
For like what, the 8th time, 7th time?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. 17th or something. I don't know. They win it a lot.
They're the Captain Lou Albano of the PPW tag team division.
Did they get new tag titles?
They did not this show, but the previous show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
so
got
there's
new tag titles, new women's title, and then new world titles first.
When-
They
when
got
they
that
get a
3.
new
That's what I
WYL?
said. I need one. Rembrandt really needs one.
Is that one rough?
The no limits title is literally falling apart.
There you go.
Yeah.
PPW. You heard
So,
it here. Get those.
I want a new belt, but he needs one first.
There you go. What a night.
Yeah, mine's not falling apart.
So the Sicilians, they did beat Scullin and Spiros Arion, but then 3 weeks later they lose the tag team titles to Spiros Arion and Bruno Sammartino. And again, we're talking about the ethnic draw. Spiros Arion, a lot of Greek people in New York, so that's their guy.
I remember there was an indie guy called Demetrius Aaron when I started. He was huge. He was around the area, well, more off Philly.
So by the late 60s, Albano is starting to kind of wane wrestling wise.
Sorry to take you on a quick side tangent again. I apologize.
No, go for it.
But how we talk about how people in wrestling today will get upset when they say, well, why do they have to push this person because such and such? If you don't understand how important representation is to a younger crowd or just people in general, and you're a pro wrestling fan, then you obviously don't know the history of pro wrestling because everything was built on representation.
Yeah.
The Italian people clamored for an Italian champion.
Even if that guy wasn't good, they still liked him.
Exactly.
It's kind of like the hometown person. But then for Bruno, his hometown and he's Italian.
Yeah.
Well, can't get no better.
So when you see, now we're finally getting we're talking about right now the 50s and 60s and we're living in 2020, 21, and we just hit our fifth black champion.
Yeah. And 3 have been within the last 3 years.
5 black champions.
I know.
So when people get a little excited and you're like, what do you have to bring race into it? Because it's 2021 and we've just crowned our 5th black champion.
I mean,
and representation's important in sports.
I agree. I mean, there is like in the 80s, I mean, you couldn't have had Butch Reed as world champion. I don't know. Like
there was always the rumor he was penciled in to be the Intercontinental champion.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times, not to defend him, but there wasn't a black wrestler that was over enough to be. I mean, that could be part of the.
Also, for most of the 80s, if your name wasn't Hulk Hogan, you weren't going to be the champion.
You didn't get the title, but I'm trying to think like offhand, like a black babyface in the 80s. Like it's hard. I don't.
The guy that jumped out because it wasn't WWF, but he was the champion in a big territory. And it was because of his philosophy. And it's funny because some people have accused Bill Watts of being racist. And
which is weird.
Well, because it's not weird because what he said was if a person who owns a store doesn't want to let people shop at their store because they're black, they should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Not the best thing to say.
Yeah,
but people who knew Watts,
early 80s.
People who no, he said that in the 90s.
Oh, geez.
That got him fired from WCW.
Oh, wow.
Because Hank Aaron found out, and Hank Aaron was his boss. His boss was a black guy, so he's like, that's not going to fly here.
Yeah.
He said it in an interview with the Pro Wrestling Torch.
Oh,
but people who know Watts were like, no, he's just like very, very libertarian.
Yeah,
like his whole thing is you should, if it's your store, you should be able to say no to anybody for whatever reason you want.
Sure, and then the public outcry if they don't want to support your store because you don't support people of color, then we would.
Yeah,
but no, you literally can't do that because of the Civil Rights Act.
Yeah,
you literally can't say you can't shop here because you're black.
Yeah, but I'm saying is people do it.
You can't
do it right now. Like we won't make you a wedding cake because you're gay.
Well, that's because sexual orientation, gender identity, things like that are not part of the Civil Rights Act. They should be.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go for myself.
Yeah, let's move on quickly. But I want to say that's why if in today's times you're upset about why people are using because I see it in comment sections like you're using the race. They're only good because you're using that card. Mm-hmm. That card has been used since the beginning of professional wrestling.
No, the reason I bring up Bill Watts at all is Bill Watts was the guy who ran Mid-South Wrestling, later that UWF, and he did exactly what you said, like that representation thing. Their biggest star, the biggest star they ever had was a Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
Awful wrestler.
Yeah.
Super charismatic.
Yeah,
super charismatic.
Was that you that showed me him shooting and beating the shit out
of
That
was Coco Beware, not the Junkyard.
Oh, Coco Beware. Okay, that's right.
But no, the Junkyard Dog was every bit to New Orleans what Hulk Hogan was to the rest of the world.
I loved him.
He was adored, and they would pack the Superdome.
And Superdome was huge.
Yeah, and
is that still there?
Yeah, the New Orleans Saints still play there, and they would. They did very well with JYD on top, and it was a very predominantly black audience.
And he always had Ernie Ladd help him book.
Yeah,
and
so Ernie.
If he was a racist, truly, then he was pretty bad at it.
Yeah, but yeah, with Albano.
But Chio's right there with you. Brian says Junkyard
JYD. JYD again couldn't really wrestle that well, but
his best was Mid-South, and we got 30. He gained a lot of weight, and he had drug problems. So.
Meltzer called him the junk food dog.
Yeah, I mean, he got even worse when he got 30.
But he was still insanely charismatic and insanely over.
Charisma through the roof, and
in the 80s, that's really all you needed.
Hit a spot here and there, cut a great promo, and fire up a crowd.
The first
Warrior,
I think he was a little better.
Yeah, he was better wrestling than Warrior.
The first pay-per-view WWF ever did was not WrestleMania 1 was not on pay-per-view.
The Wrestling Classic.
And it was a tournament. It was a one-night tournament, like 18 people.
Yeah.
And JYD won.
Yeah.
It was on the network. I don't know if it's on Peacock, though. I would assume.
Let's get back to
so Albano, and not the best in-ring wrestler. Freddie Blassie was quoted as saying, this is in the book WWE Legends. He said, Albano never claimed to be Luthez. He was an average wrestler, but an exceptional talker. That's why Vince Sr. made him a manager. You could bring him out with a protege who was a complete zero, and in 2 or 3 minutes, he'd have you believing the guy was one of the all-time greats.
That's a good manager. It's a good talker.
We'll probably get into it, but obviously if you get kept around a locker room, like I guess people like get like, why would they sign this person to a company? Why is this person still there? What do they have to offer? Like they were the shits in the ring, or they weren't that popular. Some people are just good fucking hands backstage.
That's true.
And they're the unsung heroes of professional wrestling. And I guess we'll find out a little more of what he did backstage or anything like that. But
well, it really what Albano did was with the people, and because 1970s, in the late 60s, Bruno Sammartino, Pedro Morales is on top, but your big heels in the WWF in the 70s were your managers. They were bigger heels than any of the wrestlers, because the heels that were going against Bruno or Pedro Morales, until you hit like Superstar Billy Graham, they're kind of interchangeable.
Yeah.
There was a formula, especially when Bruno was the champion. You would have a guy on TV that would win a bunch of matches, and he would be with one of the three wise men. And the three wise men were Captain Lou Albano, the Grand Wizard, and Classy Freddie Blassie. And almost every heel was managed by any heel worth their salt. Like unless you were just like an opening match guy, you were managed by one of those three.
And usually you were a foreign heel.
Yeah.
So you couldn't speak English, so you'd have to cut a promo.
That or you could a little bit, like, you know.
And he was your talking
Yeah.
piece. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the guys couldn't cut a promo anyway.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So it was usually one of those three guys, and they would get the heat they would do the promo on TV, and they would just build up this guy as this is the guy that's going to finally take Bruno down or finally take Pedro Morales down. And you would have the first match, and it would usually be like, you would usually have your first match, and they would beat Bruno or beat Pedro Morales by count out or by DQ or by like a referee stoppage, which somehow wasn't a title change back then. And then the second match, it would be some kind of schmoz, like a double DQ, double count out. And then they would have their third match, and that's where Bruno would get the win. Or sometimes it would be Bruno wins the second match, and then the third match is like a Texas death match.
And they kept that with Hogan too, kind of.
Wait, this is all in one night?
No, it'd be over three shows.
Okay.
Yeah. And back then the shows were spread out too, because they didn't have weekly television. So you 3 shows at the Garden. So let's say January till June.
Yeah. So like this, like for January, it's going to be Baron Mikel Cicluna. We're going to put him with Albano, and Bruno. He's going to beat Bruno by count out. We're going to come back in February, and it's going to be a double DQ. Then we're going to say, okay, this is going to be the match that settles it. Lumberjack match. Albano's banned from ringside. Well, actually, back in the day, they would come out with him, and then they would walk to the back usually.
Yeah, they would. Yeah,
because they didn't want riots, and those crowds would have rioted. And so it's going to be a lumberjack match, and then Bruno's going to finally get the win, and then we're going to bring in the next match.
I love lumberjack matches.
Yeah, you don't see them too often.
Love them.
Too many dives now. People do too much outside the ring.
Yeah.
So yeah, Albano is one of the 3 big managers, and he's the first of the 3 wise men to get a champion, because Albano was in the corner of Ivan Koloff the night he ended the famous 7.5-year reign of Bruno Sammartino.
A Russian guy, Russian.
The Russian bear, Ivan Koloff, actually from Montreal, I believe.
Yeah.
Actually French Canadian.
Russian at all.
Chio said you had a really good manager.
Oh, he means when he
what's his name? Chio.
For a while in GSW.
Yeah.
So yeah, Albano was in the corner for the new champion, Ivan Koloff. Didn't hold the title long. He lost it right away to Pedro Morales. The first long-term heel champion was Superstar Billy Graham, and even he had a manager. He, I think it was Cornette was listening to. He's like, why would you want Billy Graham to have a manager? He's one of the best talkers there ever was. But yeah, the Grand Wizard was his manager. So Albano, he manages Koloff to the WWF title, but we were talking about it before we started the show. His real reputation is in the tag team division. And he was called the guiding light, because if Lou Albano managed your tag team, you were going to do well. He guided 15 tag teams to title wins, some of them multiple times.
Wow.
15 tag teams.
No one will probably ever do that, at least in WWE.
Because they don't take the manager role
seriously.
They
don't like managers.
Yeah.
Somebody
else you have to pay.
When's the last time someone managed a tag team in WWE? Alexa.
Paul or
no, I think it's Alexa with Buddy Murphy and what's his name in NXT.
And that was NXT.
And well, if you talk about
I'm just
Raw,
thinking the Authors of Pain.
Oh yeah, Paul Erlin.
But not on the main roster.
He never got to the main roster. Yeah, I don't think anyone's.
They said there was always that rumor like, oh, he didn't want to go up to the main roster because he didn't like to travel, and then like on Twitter later, he's
I
like,
travel wherever.
I love to travel.
Yeah, he said he'd go wherever.
I actually love to travel.
I'm trying to think.
The last one I'm thinking of was
speaking of real quick, I didn't wear it for tonight because I didn't have a chance to change, but my new T-shirt came in. Speaking of
Delaware family.
There you go. Rachel.
Very cool.
Oh, that if you order an air T-shirt,
another manager there.
if you order another one, let me know. Thunder Rosa came out with a new one. We can split the shipping then, and she has one that's that color. That's reminded me, and it has like a face. Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Is it her with the Sugar Soul face?
Yeah,
the red one
and a coffin.
Oh, I don't have that.
Yeah,
one.
it's yellow. It just came out.
When you first pulled that T-shirt out, I thought it was a Devontae shirt.
It actually looks like an old like Muhammad Ali boxing.
It does.
Yeah, that like this shirt's. They're all. Yeah. Muhammad Ali or the old Mike Tyson.
The generic design, the loop design, for those that are only listening, goes up and around and just say their name and then maybe a tiny picture, but
another female in the business right now that fucking you.
I don't know why she's not signed.
She's so good.
Yeah. So Albano,
if you just order it, I'll give you the money. Order an extra large, and I'll give you the money for it. Cut on shipping. The Thunder Rosa.
Oh, okay. I was like, what are we talking about?
So yeah, and the most famous team, tag team Albano managed by far.
The Samoans.
The Wild Samoans, yeah. At first, they were just Samoan number 1, Samoan number 2.
WWE did that a lot.
Yeah.
And A and B, it's like, oh, God.
But Alpha and Sika.
Yes.
Alpha, the patriarch of the biggest branch of the Anawati family. If you know Alpha Jr., obviously, if you know PPW, Alpha Jr. is a fixture there. And so many others.
Sika had a son that did a little well.
Yeah, Sika's son did okay.
Roman Reigns.
Rosie. Oh yeah.
Rosie.
But yeah, Alpha had so much. Samu, just so many different people.
Yeah,
I believe Samu's Alpha's son, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't
want to stick my foot in my mouth.
That is a tree that I would have to dissect and really.
It's weird. It's weird. It's like we were somewhere one time. We were trying to see who was related. It's like, how are we the rest of us? We do not know the small family tree.
Around here, especially.
Yeah.
It's like the greatest wrestling family in the history of wrestling is in your backyard. It's like, wow, that's crazy.
They were in Hazleton.
There's two families that that to my opinion are that like just.
I love the Hearts, but it's the Samoans.
The Hearts and the Samoans.
I love the Hearts,
because
everyone else is usually like 1 or 2 wrestlers.
Yeah,
that's it.
The Von Erichs.
Yeah.
I love the Hearts, but number 1 is the Samoans.
Yeah, and if you grow up,
and they keep coming, man.
If you grow up in Northeast Pennsylvania, you're always gonna have an affinity. You're gonna kind of fall in love with the Samoans because, even though I wasn't a huge Roman character, just because of the roots being here or The Rock, we were kind of conditioned to be Samoan fans. You know what I mean? And it's exciting. And if you ever want to come on the show, hit your boy up.
So, but then Albano also managed later on a few Intercontinental champions. Pat Patterson, I believe he managed for a little bit. Morocco, he was. Morocco's manager.
I wonder if anyone's doing because you know how Teespring or TeePublic, they always have the people like bootlegging old shirts.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if the Captain Lou cartoon character.
Oh, that would be so cool.
That he used to wear is on there.
You got to get that in a blue vest to put.
Oh yeah. Possibly,
because I always think of that because of the I had the Lou Albano LJN action figure.
It'll be hard to search for because you can't really put his name and you can't put WWE. You have to put like Italian wrestler, you have to get around it. Oh, the CM Punk ringers are back and stuff.
But we have to get the full picture of things, and sometimes you have to look into the less savory parts of these. So
sorry to cut you off again here. Captain Lou Albano, a wrestling superstar shirt, is on TeePublic, where they literally just spoofed it.
Oh,
for $14.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And then if you just type in Captain Lou Albano,
that's the one you would want right there.
There it is.
Yeah,
you want to show the camera too.
Yeah, and you get that on Ringer because they're back in stock now.
The black. You can now buy more black Ringer tees.
I will probably be ordering one of those so we were talking about a not cool in high school. We want to pick a comic book. And then that's going to be our comic book line that we follow and read and keep
talking
talking
about.
Book
club kind of.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I just seen that the other day. They also have Luna Vachon shirts because they're
her Dark Side of the Ring is tonight,
and they're really cool.
You know what? I'm gonna say skip the Thunder Rosa one.
That Luna's cool. So is this one.
Get me this Luna shirt. You know who was he considered his mom.
It's also a Luna microballer.
I'll be buying that as well. You know who he considers? It's Luna Vachon. You go S a D B. You know who considers Luna as his wrestling mom and had a big part of it? John Trotsky.
Oh really?
Oh wow.
So if we do a Luna,
I didn't know he knew Luna. That's
so
awesome.
If we do a Luna Vachon episode, he said he's willing to come and talk with us.
Wow,
yeah, because that was like the Lost episode because it was during COVID, and then my board just took a dump during the show.
Another manager I was obsessed with.
I might watch that.
It would be cool. Maybe we can even bring someday. This is probably a better off the air thing to say. But maybe we can even bring some equipment to the sanctuary one day, record something with John there,
mm-hmm.
and then That's our show in the bank for
Yeah.
when Pilgrim does wrestling trivia, and we go and
another great thing that we can do for the Luna thing, that there's some ties that we can utilize a Sanctuary. Had a match with Luna Vachon, HC Loke.
Oh, really?
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, on Raw.
Luna,
Yeah.
She was also the first female playable video game character in wrestling.
yes, in Raw.
Yeah.
WWF Raw.
Well, get me the Luna shirt, and
That one.
I'll get
Because that one, I like the one with the green one, but anyway, we're getting.
Yeah, sorry, we're getting excited. I can't wait for that Dark Side of the Ring.
That's going to be.
Unfortunately, she suffered from a lot of. Oh, is it?
Yeah,
she suffered from a lot of mental illness and schizophrenia.
Which
I didn't watch the Johnny K9 one.
Me either. I haven't watched names since they came back. Actually,
sorry.
I went to.
This is one of the things we do on our show. We go on ADD tangents, especially when your host has ADD, and I kind of go on these weird side tangents. But I'm sorry, Brian. Get back to Captain Lou.
So we're getting. It's funny we just brought up Dark Side of the Ring because now we got to talk about the dark side of Captain Lou, and he was a family man and all those things. So there's nothing bad there, but
cool.
The shirt, and I'll get the money.
Like a lot of people in wrestling in the 60s and 70s, the captain liked to have a drink now and then. And I think his line, I've seen it before, is the captain is hell when he's well, and he's well when he's drinking, and he drinks a little all the time. That was his line. So I was watching some things to prep for this, and one of the things was Tony Atlas was talking about how it's in Allentown and Hamburg when they would do TV.
That one, yeah.
And that was usually the day you would get paid during one of the TVs. He would just have cups. You would have all these cups, and you'd have a cup of water, and you would have like 7 cups. There'd be a cup of water, a cup of vodka, a cup of 7-Up, a cup of 7-Up and vodka. And he'd just be drinking like all different cups. And by the end of the night, he's just blitz. And
it's a good strategy.
What
all clear liquids and cups, and just kind of
get. One of the tricks the Honky Tonk Man did, he would have his Gatorade bottle. He would always have a bottle of Gatorade. And he would empty out a lot of the Gatorade and fill it up with Kettle One vodka. And he would just be sipping his Gatorade all day, but he was getting bombed drinking his Kettle One vodka too. But with Lou Albano, and I couldn't find this to listen to it again, but I remember it very distinctly. When he passed away, which was about 12 years, it was actually 12 years ago today. That's why we're talking about Captain Lou. And he, after he passed, it was when Lesnar and Heyman were not involved with WWE, and Heyman came on Meltzer and Brian Alvarez's show on The Observer, and he just did a whole thing where he talked about Albano because Heyman grew up in Madison Square Garden from a very young age, like 15, 16, something like that. He was taking pictures. He was backstage. He was doing all these things at the Garden. And as he got older, one of his jobs was, because he lived in upstate New York, and I believe Albano did, and so did Blassie, he was their driver. He would drive them in the show and for the Garden shows. Because I think back in that time, the only shows, like the only arena shows, the house shows, that the managers would actually show up would be for the Garden. You work TV and you work the Garden.
Yeah, that's a
they probably wouldn't pay him. They
no, they paid them.
They paid him, but they just figured it wasn't necessary to do a house show.
Yeah.
You know?
And so there's this one story where Albano's little 3 sheets to the wind, and Heyman tells a story where they're just walking around New York City, walking around the streets of like Manhattan, and Albano just starts peeing. He just starts peeing in the street.
Not the first and not the last time that happened in New York City.
Oh yeah, all the time. And
2 smells when you walk around: piss and pot.
And so Blassie and Heyman notice, hey, there's a cop coming, and Albano's over there peeing on the street. So Freddie Blassie just gets in the character and be like, hey, classy Freddie Blassie, how you doing? Like he's just glad handing the cops, so they don't see what Albano was doing over there. And they were just fans, and they just wanted to meet them, and then nothing bad happened. But they would always say like he would get into these fights with Vince Sr. and quit the company, and he would go down the Sardi's, which is like a big club down there, and just get
iron sharpening iron, like Paul Heyman hanging out with Freddie Blassie.
Lou Albano. Exactly.
If you don't get a rub and get good, it's your own fault.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he would have these blow-ups with McMahon, and he would quit, and then he would come back the next day like, take me back. And they're like, okay, Lou, come on. Yeah. Like he did have like the relationship with the McMahons where even later when the Vince we know was running things, and Shane was getting involved. He's like ring crew and things like that. And even when he was a kid and just would be there, he would always go to Albano like, hey, fat man. And Albano would chase him around and like threaten to rip his head off.
The thing is like, I know we talked about last episode about people and the old school mentality, but a lot of these older talents and that are not with us that we're hearing stories about now, whether it be Dark Side of the Ring or stuff like that. You have to realize a lot of people still suffer from the same things we suffer today from, anxiety, depression, but it wasn't as big or in the spotlight.
And it's not like Albano has a horror story.
Yeah,
he drank a lot. A lot of
most guys did back then. I'm just saying in general, and a lot of them on top of anxiety, depression, and a lot of things that weren't okay to be because at some point in time you were a man and you had to be tough, and you're a professional wrestler. You have to be a fucking superhero everywhere you go, or a extreme heel or extreme villain.
Yeah, and he was a heel, so yeah.
And then also you have to be on all the time. You're a rock star. You show up at a city and you're treated like royalty. You're treated like a rock star. And what comes with that is people handing you booze, people handing you drugs.
I don't think people had to hand him. I think he had his own.
Yeah, but I'm saying is once you start that path.
Yeah, and then they would also say like that, like a bunch of lobster around. He was with a big table. And, he liked his excesses. He liked his excesses for a time, and
they all did.
It's funny that you bring up rock stars because that's where we're going now. So Vincent K. McMahon, the Vince McMahon we know, takes over in the mid '80s, and the national expansion is happening, and the managers are changing. The Grand Wizard unfortunately passed away in the '80s, and Blassie was still around, but you're bringing new managers in the around 84, 85 is when you get Jimmy Hart. It's when you get Bobby Heenan. Mr. Fuji's winding down in the ring, and he's going to become a manager soon. So Lou Albano's still around, and Lou Albano plays a huge part in what happens next. A huge part. It is forgotten right now how big of a role Lou Albano plays in the lead up to the first WrestleMania, which is what made WWE what it is today. And it kind of happens by happenstance. It happens on an airplane where Lou Albano's on a plane. I'm assuming it was out of New York or going to New York. And who's sitting next to him but Cyndi Lauper? And Cyndi Lauper is not the huge star that she would become very, very soon. But they're sitting next to each other on a plane. They strike up a conversation. And they hit it off.
She probably either grew up with a grandmother or a father or a mother who was a professional wrestling fan. So she's probably aware what was happening.
Well, she was dating a huge wrestling fan who was also her manager.
Yeah.
David Wolf. And David Wolf was her manager, helped produce her records. And I probably was on the plane too. So they're about to do a video for Girls Just Want to Have Fun, which was Cyndi Lauper's biggest hit. And they get the idea like, hey, we should get Albano to play your father. And Albano didn't want to do it. His wife was like, no, you should do it. His wife was the one that kind of convinced him to, hey, why not?
The song's a fucking banger. That's turned into a big hit.
That was a huge hit back in like 81.
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper, for a moment in time, was a mega star. She was probably not like Madonna level, but she was right there.
Yeah.
It would be like if somebody was in a video for like, I'm trying to, so I can't even think of a corollary now. Like
I would
Megan
say
Thee Stallion.
I would say when I think
what's her name?
When I think
Cardi B.
Cardi, like of the time.
I would say I think when it comes to music video guest appearances, the two that stick out for me is Captain Lou in that one, and Alicia Silverstone in Aerosmith's Crazy.
I think she was in a couple.
In the
Crazy Cry, and she did a bunch of
yeah, where him and his daughter, his actual daughter, and
Liv Tyler,
and Alicia Silverstone in the convertible. Like they're like, and then you're like, she became
Crying before that was the big one, where like she has her belly button pierced, then she bungee jumps off of it.
Yeah.
Which is just rip out. Like,
yeah.
So, but that they're the two that stick in my brain.
Okay.
I mean, Sam Kinison was in a music video. That was a pretty big deal.
Twisted Sister.
Yeah, Twisted Sister. Like so, but I think for me,
Christopher Walken, and way later in that Fatboy Slim video.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was big too.
That was great.
But I mean, like when it comes to like songs that like stick,
and this was huge because MTV was just starting.
Yeah, MTV is like 4 years old at this point.
And anything that can get get women to watch professional wrestling, Cyndi Lauper's your go-to at that point in time.
Yeah, and this is one of the first times women's wrestling is prominently featured, and a lot of it is because of Cyndi Lauper, because they really hit it off shooting the video too. And then David Wolf is a huge wrestling fan. In fact, he did an album of his own, not very well known, but he did this rap album.
Oh boy,
Cyndi Lauper's in the Hall of Fame, right?
She's probably in the celebrity wing. If not,
I think she was like made the first one.
So WWE has the first president in the Hall of Fame, and they have the first celebrity that went to space in their WWE Hall of Fame.
Oh, Bill Shatner's?
William
Shatner. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 90-year-old man getting shot into space.
It's great. Dude, we're like 10, 20 years away from that just being a thing. Like
let's go to
anyone.
space,
Where are you
yeah.
going? Space.
Yeah. The
Let's
space,
do a
the
podcast
space
in
bar.
space.
That might actually, dude, if we stay alive long enough, we might be able to do one.
If I go to space, I'm dressing like Dark Helmet from Spaceballs.
But that's after the
I'm using the
podcast.
Schwartz.
Going off movies, that's after we have jumped the ship. Then we do the in space.
Yeah. We
After,
sell
like,
out
that's like the fourth or fifth.
Tornado tag in space.
in space.
So, yeah, he was Captain Chameleon, and he did these rap songs. They're not great. One, it's funny we brought him up earlier, and once I say the title of the song, you're gonna know why I'm bringing it up. One of them was called "Grab Them Cakes."
Oh, I know who that is.
That was the Junkyard Dogs theme song, but
Yeah.
they just redid it with the Junkyard Dogs
It's
singing
kicks, not baked goods, right?
It's the ass.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
bet it's yeah. He's talking about grabbing ass. Yeah, he's grab them cakes and you go, oh, is that all you do?
Yeah.
And then the other one, they changed the title around a little bit, but the rest of the song is very similar. It was called Jive Ol' Foe,
Oh, Jive Ol' Foe.
which became Jive Soul Bro, maybe the greatest wrestling song ever written.
Good. So good. Akeem's music and Slick.
And Slick's music.
Slickster. Bow, down, down, down,
It is-
down, down, down,
It is
down,
it's a
down.
rap song that Andy Header likes.
Yeah.
That's how good it is.
Yeah.
That's how good it
But
is.
it's 80s rap.
We
Yeah,
talked about another movie that had rap in it that Andy's a fan of, and that's Elvira. If Elvira's
Yeah.
rapping, you're okay with it.
Well, I didn't like that part.
What if Elvira rapped Jive Soul Bro?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, her
That's
rap
a-
song.
So-
was not
In my opinion, is the second best wrestling theme song ever, behind All American Boys, the Russo Brothers theme.
I know you used to do your brackets. Once you get settled in and comfortable,
Oh.
we should start bringing brackets back, and then like
How
carry
about
them over to the-
Brackus?
Yeah.
good. Brock.
and bring them back to the show, like doing to the show, like
Yeah, they're so hard.
like,
That's time
the
consuming.
best wrestling theme. Like
I already
Yeah.
told you, it's All American Boys. You
Yeah.
don't have to do a tournament.
I don't have
It's over.
an app to
I
edit
got you.
images anymore.
I got you.
What do you use?
I use Spark Post.
Oh, can you drag and drop and
Yep.
everything? Have to do like
Mhm.
expand, add pictures. That's what
Yep.
I used to do. I would add a picture and crop it, and
Yeah, you can do all that.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'll just give you my login.
it's weird because like you don't buy Photoshop anymore. You subscribe to Photoshop.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like, isn't that
everything's
weird? Like,
subscription.
So if you ever need it, it's part of the network package. If you're part of the network, you get it. So
okay, I need a new computer. So my computer's like 8 years old.
can't do
Anyway,
that for you. but-
Yeah.
I also needed to
Subscribe to Patreon so we can get Brian and Andy laptops.
Yeah, this thing is not very good.
Yeah.
It's not Avery good.
It's not ever good.
So this becomes a wrestling angle. They're like, hey, let's do some stuff with Lauper and David Wolf's a wrestling fan, and
Yeah, because
So-
she's available and she's willing.
yeah, and they run out of New York all the time. They're based in New York. So this starts with Lou Albano going on Piper's Pit. I wonder if this was in Hamburg. Maybe it was. I think at this point, I think at this point they're kind of out of Hamburg.
Yeah, probably. But in the 80, I think they
85, I think they
Yeah,
kinda
they're
done
probably
with
out. But
Hamburg.
I think they're out by like 83, 84.
So Albano goes on Piper's Pit. What am I, Pat Patterson?
Yeah.
Piper Pit. He's like, I wrote all the Cyndi Lauper songs. She's a star because of me. I wrote Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Because back then heels were fun and they made outlandish claims like
Yes, and I like that.
that. And so then Lauper winds up coming on the show and she beats Captain Lou with her purse. And they're yelling back and forth, and it all comes down to the Brawl to End It All, a live special on MTV.
Yeah.
Where
Who was very hot at the time. It's brand new, you know.
yeah, and very hot and very with that young demo that everybody is trying to get. And so what they're going to do is obviously Cyndi Lauper's not going to wrestle Captain Lou Albano. They do the thing that they did with like Vince McMahon and Donald Trump, where it's like, you pick somebody, I'll pick somebody, and we'll have them settle it. And so Cyndi Lauper picks Wendy Richter, who was red hot at the time.
Mhm.
And Albano picks the fabulous Moolah, who was the women's champion, the ladies champion, they used to call it. And they say, and it's not really true, that she had been champion for like 27 years.
Yeah.
She had lost it here and there. But I mean, she was like, she had a stranglehold on women's wrestling. She controlled
Yeah,
women's
but
wrestling.
back then there wasn't many women.
Yes.
Mm.
But you might have
Like
one
that.
match on the card.
Yeah.
And it's,
I get excited when there's like 2 or 3. If I see
I
a
thought it
card
should
with
be
like
like
2 or 3,
two.
women's
if you're
matches,
going to
I
have an
get
8-match
super-
card, you should have 2 women's matches.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
not? At least.
I agree.
And if you want to have more girls, have a women's tag match. When's the last time you went to an indie show that had a women's tag match?
PPW does them a lot.
Yeah, but other than that, like even they're not too often. Like,
Mhm. They usually say they're champing
Yeah.
it. Just the way to get it wrong, because it's hard to book
It's a
women talent.
multi-person match.
Yeah.
But I mean, like a straight, like 4 women in a match.
The three way they had with Gia, Casey, and who's a third? JC Storm versus
Adina and
Adina, Denimo, and
oh, you mean 6-man tag?
Yeah,
no, I was thinking
6-woman tag.
Yeah,
I forget the other.
It was a good match. I had fun with it.
There's even just tell you, there's even girls in the business that are like, oh, we're having an Iron Man match. So like,
yeah,
it's not to be insulting.
When they did Charlotte and Sasha, when Sasha
call it an Iron Man match, like they'll call it 6-man tag, even though it's all women. So that
when they did Bailey and Sasha, when Sasha was going up to the main roster, Lita was the one that suggested that because she was producing in NXT at the time. She's like, yeah, call it an Iron Man match.
Because it's not like
it's not to be demeaning.
Genetic male, it means an Iron Man like a warrior.
Once again, it's 2021.
Like the Iron Man triathlon.
We're getting our first Queen of the Ring.
I know. How about that?
Queen's crown.
And it's
going to be in friggin' Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, people that don't even want it.
So upsetting. Like I wanted this back for forever, and it just feels like we get the bootleg version.
So I mean, it's going to be Carmella, right? That's what makes sense to me.
That throne looks so fucking terrible.
Carmella.
It's down to because it's down to the one side is Carmella and
Shayna, and then Doudrop and
I think it's Doudrop and Shayna, and then it's Carmella.
Okay,
and
Trotsky's chair is a billion times better than that fucking throne
it's
they
very
have.
nice. Yeah, they're not taking this seriously. Or the men's this year.
It's so upsetting.
And I have a feeling the Balor's going to probably win King of the Ring.
Yeah.
You don't think of Xavier?
Probably not.
I'm gonna say no.
I think they're pushing him really hard to be it.
Because they've been pushing the Prince thing, with Balor and then King. Like Xavier's been advocating for himself. Like I don't think that's been something they've been pushing.
Yeah.
And apparently they have huge plans for Balor on Raw. We'll see.
Do the Will Ferrell. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Sami Zayn because I don't think Sami Zayn's going to be in Saudi Arabia.
No, he's definitely not going to Saudi Arabia. Well, I wonder if he'll do his shirt again this year. He always does a shirt.
Sammy for Syria. That's actually a very cool charity. And he builds hospitals and mobile medical centers.
If you really want to learn about Sami Zayn as a person, check out him on Renee Paquette's podcast.
And a very good friend of his worked at an orphanage in Mexico until he died saving the orphans.
Yeah.
Is he officially dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't until
he's officially dead until I don't know when Sammy's contract's off.
The powers of Tony Khan's money.
Resurrect the dead.
Certain people.
The Forbidden Door also reaches out to heaven.
Certain foreign, people can come back to life to wrestle. And in February,
we'll find out.
Might come back.
Yeah, we'll see.
And then you would see his shirt advertised on TV.
Yeah,
not ignored.
So, the war to settle the score. It's Albano with Mula in Albano's corner, Wendy Richter in our Lauper and Wendy Richter's corner. And Wendy Richter gets the win. This 20-plus year title reign is over. Wendy Richter's your new champion. And it got a 9.0 rating.
Think about that.
On MTV, which up until, I think, like one of the VMAs, like the one that Chris Rock hosted in 1999, this was the highest rated show on MTV.
It's awesome.
So it's getting, 7 to 8 more points than what Raw gets now.
Yeah.
Captain Lou, baby.
That's
the only thing. The only thing on cable that gets that kind of ratings is like football and playoff basketball.
Yeah,
and maybe playoff baseball.
And Captain fucking Lou Albano.
And maybe like a presidential thing or something.
Yeah,
King of TV.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
Well, back then, I mean,
and that was the end of Captain Lou as a heel, because shortly after this, and then the other thing we didn't mention is part of the angle was he was like, I hate women. Like he was a misogynist. Like women should be making music. They should be in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant.
But
and
it was
84
or 85.
Yeah, and he was a heel. He was a bad guy.
Bad guys have to do bad things, or else they're not bad guys.
And so afterwards he apologizes to Cyndi Lauper. He's like he turns babyface. They reconcile, and they do a big angle in Madison Square Garden at the end of '84, beginning of '85. Dick Clark is there. Dick Clark is there because he's still known from like American Bandstand and all that. And he is there to present Cyndi Lauper with a trophy that the WWF is giving her because of her contributions to women's wrestling. And then Captain Lou comes out and he's wearing a tie. He's like all fancy dressed up. He's still got the rubber band hanging off his face. So Captain Lou comes out and he has this award. It's like a almost looks like a gold record, or now like those gold play buttons they'll get for YouTube and things like that. And he's coming out to present this award because Cyndi Lauper and him have been helping a charity that was for people who suffer from MS. And they've raised over $4 million. And to thank you, I'm going to give you this award. He's given Cyndi Lauper an award for her charity contributions. And out comes Roddy Piper. And Roddy Piper grabs the award from Albano and busts it over his head. And then Cyndi Lauper runs to cover up Lou Albano so Piper can't beat him up anymore. And he doesn't kick her, but Piper like just pushes her off of him with his foot. And then David Wolf, Lauper's manager boyfriend, jumps on Piper, and Piper just picks him up and power slams him. And then eventually Hogan runs in and kind of breaks things up. And that leads to the second MTV special they did.
It's so crazy that we like. I never because I like, even though I was a kid, I fucking loved Piper.
Well, this I'm pretty sure it was before you were born.
But I'm saying like, even like going back and watching the old stuff of Piper, I fucking loved it. But then you look at like MJF today, he's 100% old Piper.
No, yeah. He Piper was a huge influence.
Like Piper did shit that would get you fucking canceled today. Yeah. So crazy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So Piper and Bob Orton mess everything up, and Hogan comes out to make the save, and that's when we get the war to settle the score in February of '85, and it's another MTV special. Basically, they were the same night as like it was their Madison Square Garden house show, but they're going to put one match on MTV, and this time it's Hulk Hogan defending the WWF title against Roddy Piper, and Hogan has Albano, Wolf, and Lauper in his corner, and then Piper has Cowboy Bob in his corner with his cast. And so Hogan wins by DQ, but there's a big schmoz at the end, and that leads us to WrestleMania, and that's the big setup for WrestleMania.
So the two shows that Captain Lou is a part of leads into what we now have as the Showcase of the Immortals.
And the shows did very well. That show was not on the network too for some reason.
I
don't know why.
It was on, I think, for a day, and they took it down. Maybe. It might be a rights issue.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
but
there's people that are gonna say, "What is MTV?"
Yeah, it's that channel that shows that ridiculousness show for 23 hours out of the day.
Is Captain Lou the reason why music's not played on MTV anymore?
No,
because they showed that wrestling was popular.
It's possible. It's Captain Lou and Butthead. Those are the two main guys.
Captain Lou, Butthead, and
Snooki.
Yeah, Jackass.
And Snooki.
And Johnny Knoxville.
Snooki, who also wrestled at WrestleMania.
Yeah, there you go. And the Jackass crew definitely made an
and Tom Green.
Yep. And Tom, well, listen, we cannot wrap this show without talking about another Captain Lou thing that was
hang on,
iconic.
Hang on, relax.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hang on.
I thought you were wrapping up here.
Oh.
So
I lost my notes.
So yeah, that not shown on MTV, but that same night they did the war to settle the score. They did Leilani Kai beating Wendy Richter for the women's title. So that was Moolah's protege, and so that happens at WrestleMania where Wendy Richter wins the title back. Lauper's in her corner, Captain Lou's in her corner.
Leilani Kai, a great descendant of Dakota Kai.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leilani Kai,
I think her real name was not Hawaiian at all.
Very, very oddly wrestled at WrestleMania 1 and WrestleMania 10.
Yeah, that's something.
She wrestled Alundra Blaze. So after this, Albano winds up managing the U.S. Express, who were tag team champions. That was Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham. That's Bray Wyatt's father and Bray Wyatt's uncle.
Yeah,
because Mike Rotunda married Barry Windham's sister,
and that's why he named Windham.
Yep, Windham Rotunda. Yeah, and then after the U.S. Express broke up because Barry Windham left, and they had like Danny Spivey as like a replacement, but it didn't really take off. The final run he had for the '80s, he was the manager of the British Bulldogs, and he co-managed him with Ozzy Osbourne at WrestleMania 2.
Bulldogs was Davey Boy and
Dynamite Kid. And then when Davey Boy came back, he was just called the British Bulldog.
Yeah.
But the original team was Davey Boy.
Dark Feather Ring. Holy Hannah.
Mm-hmm. I didn't watch that one actually.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Was it both of them or just Davey?
Dynamite. Just Dynamite.
Dynamite Kid has a story. And so they beat the Dream Team.
Might be the reason why someone uses the Russian Dynamite.
Oh, okay.
She's very big on.
Dynamite Kid is very influential.
Yeah.
One of the things that Masha
very good wrestler
always carries in her wrestling bag is Dynamite Kid's book.
Oh, really?
You're gonna say one of the things that Masha always carries in her bag is Dynamite.
Is
literal Dynamite.
Just in case.
She doesn't keep the blasting caps because that's unsafe.
Oh, well.
If I don't get paid, I'm gonna blow this place up.
Yeah.
I would put it past Masha. Yeah.
So yeah, the Bulldogs won there, and Albano did a little bit of wrestling in the mid '80s. They had the Machines. And it was all a thing because Andre the Giant was all filming The Princess Bride. So they said Andre was suspended. He did something. He got suspended from the WWF. But then when they were bringing him back, he was still suspended. But they had Big Machine and
Giant Machine, Super Machine,
and Big Machine, which was Blackjack Mulligan, who is Barry Windham's father, Bray Wyatt's grandfather, and Bill Eadie, Axe from Demolition. And they were the Machines, and yeah, they had Giant Machine. They said he was from Japan, and then he talked like Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Kind of looked like Andre.
It was a Midnight Rider thing.
He kind of wore the same exact thing, but had a mask.
It was a Midnight Rider. Uvalde
his hair
Slim,
sticking
Mr.
out the
America.
top.
Well, no, he didn't. They cut his hair. Like that. One of the angles was Stud and Bundy cut Andre's hair.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's when he went from the afro to like the short hair he had when he was a heel.
Yeah.
And so they would do like Hulk Machine, like in something. Piper Machine was one when Piper turned baby.
Kind of like Everyone's a Dragon.
It's that classic mask, where it covers you the face. It's like black mask, like gold around the eyes. It goes like this and this up like a mouth.
You should become
covers the whole thing.
Header Machine.
Yeah, I'd wear a Machine's mask.
Our head machine.
Machine Head.
Yeah,
Machine Head.
Come out to the Bush song. So some of the final matches were the Machines, which would have been and Albano, so it would have been Mulligan and Axe.
Yeah.
And Albano beating Stud Bundy and Bobby Heenan. His last match was on October 29th in WWF. He actually had matches around here for, I think it was like PCW or something. And against the promoter, Judd the Stud.
Yeah, that would have been PCW in Reading.
Yeah, in like 97, they had a few matches.
Judd the Stud was like their manager. So like, imagine their gym.
Wonder if that posted at the dungeon.
There might be. There's Judd the Stud is on one of the posters at the dungeon for sure.
Yeah. And he's also no longer with us.
Yeah, I would. That's an episode I want to do so bad. I want to do an episode with the Mess Brothers at the dungeon.
I'm sure Mark and Troy was before.
Yeah.
So
history in that building is crazy.
Yeah. So much history around here, and the Samoans are a huge part of it. And Albano, because of
we just got to do the work to find it.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
So much history.
Yeah.
And so October 29th, 1986, the Bulldogs and Albano team up to beat Johnny Valiant, and the Dream Team, which was Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake. And then shortly after that show, Albano leaves. He left the WWF. He wanted to pursue an acting career. And so one of the movies he was in, trying to find the name of it now, I had it earlier.
I always get Johnny Valiant confused with Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant.
Jimmy Valiant, yeah. Because there was Jimmy, Johnny, and Jerry.
Yeah.
And Jerry Valiant was like Vince McMahon's favorite wrestler.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
But yeah, Johnny Valiant was mainly a manager. He was from New York. Like I think the other ones were. I know Jimmy Valiant was Southern.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not real brothers, because you had the Valiants and the Grahams and the Fargos. Yeah. But that was mainly Jackie Fargo. There's Don Fargo, Roughhouse Fargo, who was Jackie Fargo's real brother. But he would. This is totally off the beaten path. I'm sorry.
We've been doing it a whole show.
This is
Fargo is
kind of our thing.
Classic.
This is a funny story because Roughhouse Fargo, he was Jackie Fargo's real brother, and his job 50 weeks out of the year was he was a referee for Mid-Atlantic. If you watch some of those old Mid-Atlantic shows that were on the network, I think he's a referee that has the big flare pants.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That flare out at the ankles. And Mid-Atlantic didn't run like 2 weeks around Christmas. So they would just shut down the territory for 2 weeks because the houses were awful. But Memphis ran, and that's where Jackie Fargo was. And they always said that Jackie Fargo had a crazy brother, just completely insane, Roughhouse Fargo. And he's in a mental institution, but they let him out of the mental institution for Christmas.
That's wrestling, baby.
And every Christmas, Jackie Fargo would bring out his brother, Roughhouse Fargo.
This is
crazy.
why.
It's a nice mental institution.
This is why I love stuff like Camp Leapfrog and fucking
the wacky stuff
and Sanctuary, because that's where this shit would still happen.
Yeah.
Like those storylines would 100% happen.
So the big thing that got Captain Lou into acting was a movie called Wise Guys. And it was a Brian De Palma movie with Danny DeVito and Joe Piscopo, an old Saturday Night Live guy.
Yeah.
And it was like a mobster comedy movie. So he was in that. And yeah, he did do a little bit of acting in the mid to late 80s. He was in one of the first things I saw him in was Body Slam.
Oh,
it was a wrestling movie. He was basically playing himself. He was Captain Lou Morano instead of Albano.
Played a gangster twice in his career.
No, he was a wrestling manager.
I'm saying the Wise Guys.
Yeah. But yeah, in the Body Slam movie, he was Captain Lou Morano. I have a soft spot for Body Slam. It's a bad movie, but it's a fun bad movie.
Yeah.
It's Dirk Benedict. If you ever watched the A-Team, he was Face on A-Team, and he was also in the original Battlestar Galactica. Where's Starbuck?
Battlestar Galactica.
He was Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica, and so he's M. Harry Smilak, a music manager, a record manager. And he's like this Weasley guy. He's behind.
I've never seen Body Slam.
It's great.
I've seen him both.
It's great.
Can you buy it? Like,
it was on YouTube for a little bit.
You'd probably have to. I don't think it's on any streaming device.
It was free on YouTube.
I'm sure the DVDs might be $8 on Amazon or eBay. Probably eBay. You get VHS.
So like, yeah, he's kind of washed out with music management, and he winds up. That's it. Yeah, he winds up.
Oh wow.
He winds up inadvertently becoming a wrestling manager. Like he signs this guy Rick Roberts, who's Roddy Piper. I have that DVD. Yeah. I have No Holds Barred on DVD.
That might be another. Maybe we'll do. Maybe we'll sneak in like
Body Slam is infinitely better than No Holds Barred. Yeah, Body Slam is fun.
Every now and then, like once a month, we should sneak in like Body Slam, No Holds Barred, The Wrestler. Like we should do. We should do like we should talk the movie.
No Holds Barred is really bad, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of wrestlers in Body Slam. Like your main guys are Roddy Piper and his partner's Tonga Tom, which is the Tonga Kid, Rikishi's brother and twin brother. Speaking of that family again, speaking of the Great Samoan family, Alpha and Sika are in the movie as these heavies for a businessman that Smilax screwed over because he never paid for his car, and now he keeps just wrecking all of Smilax's cars. The villains are they're not the Road Warriors. They're called like the Cannibals. It's like Axe and Hammer or something like that.
God.
And it's T-Joe Khan and the Barbarian.
It's awesome.
And Charles Nelson Riley plays
now,
this.
Bye. Is he Jim Barnett?
No, he's a talk show host. Like they're like, we're gonna get you on Carson. He's like Johnny Carson? No, Vic Carson. There's a wrestling talk show that's like supposed to be the #1 show on television. It's a great movie. I could do a whole episode talking about Body Slam.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do an episode on Body Slam. You just.
So anyway, Captain Lou was in that. He would do like. Whenever they would have the wrestling episode of a show, he was on a lot of those. He was on Hey Dude.
Oh, wow. Hey Dude was on Nickelodeon.
Yeah. And because whenever they would do a wrestling episode of a show, it was always like somebody on the show somehow through some convoluted way has to be in a wrestling match.
Yeah, and they have a relative that happens to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
Insert Captain Lou Albano or Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our King Kong Bundy on Marriage
or the Bushwhackers on Family Matters.
Yeah.
And they wound up having to wrestle Carl and Urkel.
Yeah. Wasn't he just like a bee? For some reason?
They were wearing masks or something, yeah. But yeah, Captain Lou, like they're doing a wrestling thing at the ranch, and the guy who owns the ranch, Mr. Ernst, winds up having to wrestle Captain Lou. And his big move is called like the Deep Six. I don't know why I remember this so vividly, but it was basically the Avalanche. And they called it the Deep Six. And he's going to give Mr. Ernst the Deep Six, and he faints. Mr. Ernst faints. And so Captain Lou just hits the post and falls down and gets knocked out, and Mr. Ernst beats him.
Melody was so hot, and then Hey Dude just wants that's what's his name's wife,
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller's wife.
Do you ever see Dodgeball?
Yes,
the blonde. It's on Vince Vaughn's team. She was Melody on Hey Dude. She also played Marsha Brady
in this reboot.
In the
not
in the
original.
Yeah, no, she's not Maureen
the
McCormick.
Weird one that the Marsha and what's the oldest son? Is it Brad?
Together, yeah.
Where they had like that weird scene in the attic where they were like into each other.
Yeah.
Then the reboot movie. You ever see the reboot movie?
They weren't blood related.
Yeah, they weren't blood related.
It's a little weird, but they weren't blood related.
A little strange.
Well, in real life, the original Brady Bunch, Greg was having a little thing with Carol Brady, the mom.
Whoa.
Yeah, Barry Williams and Florence Henderson had like a little.
And the mom was pretty good looking back then. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, and then the thing, this is literally the first thing I ever saw Captain Lou Albano in, because his wrestling thing, like all the stuff we were talking about, was a little before my time. 86 when he left, I was 3. So he played Mario.
Yes.
In the around 88, 89, and I watched this religiously.
Yes.
He was they had the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, which was a cartoon, but wrapped around the cartoon parts, they did live action things with Mario and Luigi.
Good. Can we please bring that back on DVD or VHS?
You can buy a DVD of that.
It's on DVD. I actually have a DVD that's just the Zelda.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah.
Because there would be Mario cartoons all week, and then on Friday it was Zelda.
Yes.
I gave that back to you, right?
I think so.
I hope so.
Maybe not. Maybe it's here. I forgot I lent that to you.
Yeah. Double check if you have that.
That Zelda show. Oh boy.
Oh, it was bad.
Princess, please, or whatever.
Excuse me, princess.
Oh, it's all.
Yeah, I remember there is a skit where it's on YouTube where supposedly Luigi says to Mario, or Mario says to Luigi, like, yo, you got tomato sauce on your walls. Fuck's the matter with you? But it it flows so well that like you don't realize he says
I think they even did a thing where Captain Lou Albano showed up because Piper was on there. They would have wrestlers on.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Captain Lou showed up and talked to Mario.
Yeah, Captain Lou. I thought Mario had to leave, and then Captain Lou, like, oh, Mario's coming. Here's Captain Lou, and he's gonna like threaten Luigi.
They had an apartment in New York, Mario.
Yeah.
And I was like,
isn't there an episode where they had like the missing Mario? They played out the missing Mario thing. And
that was before Mario was missing.
Yeah.
That was a Super Nintendo.
I know, but they did a skit on the thing where Mario was missing.
Oh, did they?
Oh,
I
maybe.
believe so. Yeah.
But yeah, and then he was also in a movie called Stay Tuned, which a movie I liked as a kid for some reason. It had John Ritter and Pam Dauber, who was Mindy on Mork and Mindy.
Oh, okay.
And John Ritter's character is just like a couch potato, obsessed with TV, and he buys this super big satellite dish. You can get all these crazy channels, but it's a portal to hell.
Oh.
And the TV salesman was the devil.
Ooh, sounds cool. Sounds very 80s horror.
It's just like early 90s, yeah, but it's a comedy.
Oh.
And they get sucked into the TV, and like they're on all these different channels, and one of the channels they had was like wrestling, and they had to wrestle Captain Lou Albano.
Love it.
But then he does come back to wrestling in the UWF, Herb Abrams UWF for a little bit. He did an interview segment, and then he did come back to WWF in 1994. He's a babyface now. He looks a lot different.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight.
He lost about 150 pounds. He had a health scare, and I think he cut down on the drinking a lot, and he cut down on the overeating a lot, and he wound up looking very different. He lost about 150 pounds. He was wearing like a tracksuit most of the time. And he managed one more set of tag team champions, and that would be the Head Shrinkers. He was a co-manager with Alpha, and the Head Shrinkers were Fatu, who became Rikishi, and Samu.
Yeah.
And they beat the Quebecers, I want to say.
And then Samu ate that bad fruit. Wasn't that the storyline where the
bad fish? Probably.
It was bad fruit. He when Samu left the Head Shrinker.
Oh yeah.
And Sione came.
Yeah, the barbarian.
Who was not the barbarian.
Yeah, Sione.
Sione.
Head Shrinker Sione.
When he ate the bad fruit.
Oh, is that what it was? I had
believe
no idea.
so. Yeah, he ate bad fruit. That was what they said in the commentary. Like, he ate bad fruit or something. Yeah.
So Albano was going around 95 because I think they were phasing out the Head Shrinkers at that point. Yeah, because by 96, they're doing like the Making a Difference.
Yeah, and they were still wild savages too that couldn't talk, which was a little passe.
Yeah,
and even in 95, like people.
I loved it though.
And then
it was cool. But
and then there were savages that couldn't talk, but were baby faces.
Yeah,
they were friendly savages that couldn't talk.
Yeah.
But then by the end of 95, Samu was gone, and
they never made a Captain Lou
LJN? Or I mean the
Hasbro?
Hasbro.
He wasn't around at that point.
Yeah, he was.
They
gone.
had the Head Shrinkers.
Yeah,
yeah, but the managers didn't really get action.
That sucks.
He wasn't there that long.
And they did. I had the Captain Lou LJN.
Yeah, the dog toy.
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah. And so but then he would appear here and there for a few years. His health did take a dip around like the mid 2000s. He had a heart attack in 2005, and he did pass on October 14th, I believe, or 13th or 12th, somewhere around this time of 2009.
Yeah, he wasn't, and then they inducted him in the Hall of Fame at the first.
Yeah, I think he was in one of those early classes in the
first
90s.
Or second one. Yeah,
I mean, you have to. The guy, he's probably the sole reason why obviously Hogan's the big draw, but Lou Albano did if
he doesn't meet Cyndi Lauper on an airplane, who knows what happened?
He did the legwork to get them in the mainstream, put them on MTV
at the time. Yeah,
and it's something we should also bring up with Lauper. Lifelong friends after that. They stayed close, and
ain't that something?
They were friendly until he passed, and he was in a lot more of her videos. He was in like She Bop, and the one they did for the Goonies was like a Goonies something or another. Even like True Colors, I think he plays like a cook. That's like her serious song.
Yeah.
He was in a lot of her videos, and they stayed friends, lifelong friends.
Yeah, and I mean this is what we try to do here on Tornado Tag. Obviously, Captain Lou is a name that sticks in your head, but we try to do the deep dive to bring more light to some of these unsung heroes of wrestling and talk about some topics. And if you enjoyed it, please comment, let us know what you thought. Let us know if we did a good job. If you can, go to our website. If you're on Apple, write a review. Those reviews help us so much to get in the algorithms. We appeared about 5 or 6 times now in the top 250 in Apple, and it's because you just listen and you just help out. And you
star review too. You don't have to say anything. Just pick the stars.
You could just do the stars. If 5-star review goes a long way, but if you do write something, it does help. If you are listening or watching live, make sure you go subscribe or follow on other platforms to help us out a little bit. It does help a lot, like YouTube, Twitch, or Spotify or anything like that. Yeah, man, it was a fun topic.
Yeah, such a a character.
Yeah.
And that's the greatest thing about wrestling. I mean, great matches are fun, but
When you
it's
think
the
Captain Lou
characters.
Albano, what's the first thing that pops in your head?
Just his overall essence, like the rubber bands on the face.
Yeah,
the
that's
screen.
right. And the
baby.
Hawaiian,
The
the
look.
Hawaiian shirt.
The
yeah.
look,
Hawaiian
the Hawaiian
That's
shirt,
open.
the beard,
No undershirt.
the beard with the ties in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just that over the top, and 80s wrestling, especially the WWF.
Yeah, it had to be a cartoon.
You were over the top,
Yeah.
and he was more than any manager. I think he was the one that would just jump through your screen like that.
We also have on our website, if you go to the Tornado Tag page, or you can do it on the IWP network, there is on the bottom right-hand corner, a little microphone will pop up. If you click that microphone, you can leave us a voice
promo.
message.
Cut a promo.
Or a promo. If you leave a promo or you leave us a voice message, I know there's some people out there who have, because we're living in this area, they have Captain Lou stores. I know Frank Boris said he has one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Maybe next time we see Frank, maybe we'll film something real quick and he could tell us a story. I mean, that guy, he's the guy who takes photos and drives people
Yeah, I
around.
was gonna say, they're talking about drivers.
He's somebody I want on the show really bad. We're going to talk to him next show and try to get that down. But if you have anything, if you have something you want to contribute and you're not joining us live in the chat, leave us a voicemail. We'll play it. Leave us a review. Put your story in the review. It helps us out. And let's grow this, baby. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up, and we're very excited for it. Anything in closing here about Captain Lou?
Watch Body Slam. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
Everybody go watch Body Slam.
Or the Mario show, but you can maybe skip the cartoon
that's
part.
how we should do this.
Yeah.
Do the Mario.
Yeah.
Andy, when we get out of here,
Yeah.
plugs. What do you got?
Okay, so I forgot to show this RFW.
Okay.
Did I say that right? Or is it RWF?
RWF.
Yeah,
that's right.
RWF.
RWF.
Yes, and, that's November 7th, Sunday night at HMAC in Harrisburg.
Nice.
I don't know who I'm wrestling yet, but Lance Archer's gonna be there. Justin Credible, Kobe Carino, and Tommy Dreamer.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Tommy Dreamer's still coming.
Yeah. As far as I know, he got added to the show. So I was like, oh, well,
Oh, maybe the
hey.
prices went down.
Yeah. But Lance Archer. So I mean,
Yeah.
come see Lance Archer for like $20 at HMAC. So it's
Pretty sick.
upstairs. It's pretty cool.
AEW. Did he ever win that?
No, he won the IWGP US title
Yeah.
on AEW. I believe.
Yeah, that's what it was. Also, you can see Andy on Truth Behind Illusion, as well as Not Cool in High School. We just wrapped up our episode with Elvira, Mistress of the Dark movie review. Really fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So check. You'll see just as much as you see Andy on Thursday nights live on this network. You'll see him on Tuesdays between
Tuesday night.
Not Cool in High School and Truth Behind Illusion.
I'm like Triple H. I don't want to work Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know, Brian doesn't work Tuesdays. He records his show on Tuesdays.
Yes, I do. That's my. I plug project219.com. Earlier, you can find my other shows there, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram. It's Murder My Dude is at Murder My Dude on Instagram and Twitter, but on Facebook they don't like you to put murder in your name, so it's at Podcast My Dude. Or if you search Murder My Dude, you'll find it.
It'll pop up.
If you search Cheesesteak Suplex, you'll find it. Fun shows. Murder My Dude is true crime, very comedic twist on it. And then Cheesesteak Suplex, we talk about geek stuff, wrestling.
Yeah.
Usually what we do is like, because there's a break in between the first half of the show is wrestling. Then it's like, if you're just here for the wrestling,
See you later.
and I hope you enjoy the show. And then we usually talk about like games or
Now,
fun
the
stuff
thing
like that.
is, you guys are talking Fig Feds.
Yeah,
If you really want to kick off your Fig Fed again, there is a
there is
a Kickstarter coming up, and it is run by Matt Cardona. And if you pay for the Kickstarter, the first thing you're going to get is 2 referees. They're going to do a indie ref, a new age ref, or an old school ref.
Is the new age ref Billy Gunn or Road Dogg?
It is neither.
Oh.
It kind of looks like Chris Bankos, to be honest.
Oh,
with
that's
you.
cool.
Yeah.
I would buy a Chris Bankos action.
Oh, I would 100%.
Or Chris Levin action.
Yeah, can we make Chris Levin, Adam Gull, Ref Gina, and Chris Bankos toys? Because I want one.
I forget who said it, but I think it was Alex. We were doing some stuff with the Camp Leapfrog people, and somebody said, I think it was Alex, it might have been Maestro, that we need to have Chris Levin as 1, 2, 3 kid ref.
There you go.
I like it.
It's great.
But if you kickstart this, I don't know, you probably find that on Kickstarter, but if you kickstart this, the goal is the 2 referees. We're going to make referee figures. But if it hits its goal, like the stretch goals are more figures.
Oh, okay.
So the stretch goals, if it keeps
Well,
going.
I know they're starting their own figure. Like I think it's called Legends of Wrestling or something like that.
And they are going to make figures for independent people.
Yeah.
Like that's their goal, is to get independent wrestlers their own action figures.
Figures, make wrestling figures of characters that never had a figure.
Yes. Which there's a bunch of them that would be really cool to own. So even if you're not in a fig fed and you want to collect, go check out Matt Cardone's podcast. He's doing cool things. Since he's left WWE, he has a lot more opportunities to do fun stuff.
His work in GCW has just been off the charts, amazing.
His stock has really
the stretch goal is going to be a security guard.
Oh,
it will be a
once again the internet champion.
Yes,
a ring announcer, and then I believe
Gary Michael competitive figure.
Wrestling fans.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me just double check this before I put it out there and I look like an idiot. It was on it. I literally seen it today.
I'll give him money if he's gonna make the Brian action figure.
Hey, the Kickstarter was canceled. Yeah, but they are making. He was on Jericho's podcast talking about how he wants to make this. The first figures are Zach Cardona and Matt Ryder, or Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
And Brian Myers.
Now, obviously, I pull it up and I can't find it. I'm an idiot. I don't know, but there's a stretch goal. There's a thing going on right now. If you check it out, it is on there. I'm trying to see here. It's not on his. Maybe it's on Matt Cardona.
I did very recently.
Maybe it's Indiegogo.
At the last Outbreak show, I did buy for the first time in like 10, 15 years. I bought a wrestling figure.
Yeah, you did.
I bought the Bobby Heenan, the Weasel suit.
Yeah. So definitely go check that out. There's a really cool thing there if you're into the fig feds. The AEW, man, they might lock me in to start grabbing some toys. I don't know. They're just so cool.
Yeah, I think I'm past.
I
have too much crap already.
I have to buy a fucking ring so I can get my Aubrey toy.
Because a lot of it is, where do you put the figure? You know, like
I take them out of the box. They're not staying in. If I own,
he's playing with them. He's totally playing.
If I own them, they're coming out of the box. I want to maybe do like Ariel Helwani does and put them on the table, but they fall over too quick. So I gotta get like
they do unless you get like a little stand.
Yeah. I own one action figure. I own Orange Cassidy.
Nothing's coming up on
until that Chris Statlander is made, and until that Britt Baker bloody face one's really cool.
I pre-ordered that one.
Yeah,
I want to get the Nyla one.
Nyla's is cool. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you'll talk about on the Fig Fed.
Yeah, that'll be coming out this Sunday at midnight. So Saturday into Sunday at midnight.
Wrestling toys have evolved, man. Like the interchangeable hands and faces, it's crazy.
So we talked about Fig Feds. We talked about our Fig Fed that we had when we were too old to be playing with wrestling figures. And then we also talked about like 80s and 90s. Like,
would you give your toys tub baths?
When I was younger, when I was like 6, 7,
play with them in
the LJNs. Yeah, a lot of my LJNs, the paint started to go on them a little bit.
I know a lot of people would take like a marker and make them bloody.
Yeah. The washable, it has to be a washable marker.
Yeah.
Fuck up and you put a permanent on. Your toy's bloody forever.
Forever.
The ones that just wipe right off.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, we would do like where we also cover like 80s and 90s play sets and things like that for like just more broad toys. That's like non-wrestling.
There's some big money in toys, especially 80s and 90s.
Dude, fucking Walmart, the toy section is not even for kids anymore.
Yeah, those Hasbro Andre, I had like 1 or 2 of them.
I can never find one.
They got broken or lost over time, and then I went to the toy store and like they're $100. Like,
I lost
a lot of them. Classic toys go for a lot.
I lost my entire wrestling and NASCAR toy. I had all the NASCAR diecast.
Okay,
I lost everything in a house fire.
Yeah,
so like a part of me is if this podcast ever blows up,
you buy that stuff.
I would go back and buy my childhood.
I bought a lot of toys that I lost as a kid or had traded or something.
Yeah, that's what Kevin Smith did. He sold all these comics and stuff.
Well, and the things I had as an adult, like the pop figures, I sold them all to start this podcast. Yeah. So if this blows up, once I can cover the cost of equipment,
you start to buy the toys.
If it blows up, it's Masha's fault because she brought dynamite.
Yeah, there it is. Check out Project Humanoid. Check out Andy Header on the other shows. Check out the IWP Network, www.iwpnetwork.com.
Check out the Sanctuary. We will be.
What is the official website? Because John posted like 7 websites.
He's bought a ton of domains. He just bought all these domains. So when you search that domain,
that's come up.
So if you type in like WNEP.art, it takes you to Sanctuary.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the official website, I think it might be the Sanctuary. But not.
There's Sanctuary.com, Sanctuary.gay, Sanctuary.art.
Yeah, a lot of. And then there's shows all like every Sunday, just about.
Dude,
and then some Fridays.
The stories there are so much fun. Listen, I think more people need to come and see it live.
Yes,
because it's a good time.
Yeah,
man.
And it's $5. You know,
it's so much fun. I know it's not, but when you come, don't expect to see a wrestling show.
I mean, you get wrestling, but it's not your normal wrestling. So let's say that
you're getting a production. They're filming what they're doing is filming something that they put together later on.
Yeah.
So even what you're watching live on Facebook, you may see sometimes they cut, we need to do this, we need to fix the cameras, because the overall goal is to edit a good product that when the season's done, it comes out as a full season.
The last time when McQuay and I forget their guy's name, when they won the tag titles.
Jordan Pucko.
Yeah. When they won the tag titles, he said, "Come back out. We need to get that shot again, or you guys leaving the title."
So when you're there live or you're watching live on Facebook, you're gonna see stuff like that because
you're very much in a studio audience, right?
Exactly. It is treated like a studio audience. Yeah. Which is fun.
And it is Sanctuary Stunt Studio.com. And I think it just takes you to their Facebook page.
Yeah. Come hang out with us. We're for the most part, we're always there. Come see us live. It's a good time.
172 North Wyoming Street in Hazleton, Pennsylvania.
If there's a
just look for the big church.
Yeah. If there's a PPW crowd show, you can see us there. If there's an Outbreak show, 90% of the time we're going to be there.
And even there, go check out that True Wrestling show. That's really good.
We're starting to dive into the Jersey crowd.
Oh my.
We might be making appearances at Titan. We're going to see our first Titan show coming up.
Yeah.
We've been we're looking into some backbreaker show we want to come see. We're always at Camp Leapfrog, so you can see us there. There's a lot of stuff you can go check us out at. We do a lot of behind the scenes shit, not just a podcast. We help film shows, we help produce it, we do commentary. It's been a great journey, and a lot.
Oh yeah, this guy wrestles sometimes too.
Yeah, this guy wrestles. I don't know ever heard of him. But yeah, Andy Henner. But we do a lot of fun stuff, man, and it's been a fun journey. We're coming up on our 3rd year now on this podcast, and it's exciting. And we want to thank you all for the journey. Thank you all for hanging out. Yeah, just support the network, iwepnetwork.com. Support the other shows that we have on here, and we'll see you guys next time. Tornado Tag Podcast. We're out of here. If my mouse turns back on.
To the Mario.